Hey everybody, welcome to Comic Book Curation. I'm Polly, and joining me as always, and for the first time in like what, 2 weeks, is Inquisitor Quiz. How you doing?
2 weeks. We were only off for one.
Yeah, okay, sure. For a week, joining me is Inquisitor. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How about you, man?
I'm recovering, doing okay.
Yeah.
Medicated, not
A
the best
little
of
bit, yeah.
moods, dead tired, those sorts of
YouTube
things.
fucking with you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and YouTube's fucking with me. Yeah.
That's fair.
And then rounding out our triumphant of awesome, as always, is Jack from Bad Comic Reviews. Jack, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
And you know, so yeah,
Other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play?
yeah, it's been fun reading the stories of what's been going on in comic books for since we last did episode number 63. Oh, look at that! I didn't type in a title for episode 64.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's
That's
Comic Book Curation episode 64.
We can always change it.
Yeah, change that later. Oh, and I didn't send out the tweet.
This unprofessional otter on YouTube.
Why don't I go do that right now whilst we speak? I'm going to go ahead and blame the painkillers. What's the word I'm trying to think of? The steroidal anti-inflammatories that I've been taking.
I was going to say the oxycodone.
No, they didn't give me anything that good. I got Percocet.
Ah.
In addition to this this steroidal anti-inflammatory inflammation reducer for the concussion.
Concussion?
Yeah.
What happened to you, Polly?
You didn't hear about this?
No.
Well, oh, okay. I thought you read the tweet that I had sent out like last week. So,
dude, I never get updated on your tweets ever. It really pisses me off.
Well, it wasn't just me, dude.
Whenever you put out the tweet for Comic Book Curation, I have to actively search for you every time.
Oh yeah, I remember. We've talked about that a number of times.
Timeline.
Yeah. Quiz is shadow banned from reading my tweets for some reason. I don't know why. But the so anyway, what happened is last week I was having a pretty bad spell of vertigo, and was over at a friend's house, and ended up taking a pretty hard tumble down the stairs, and yeah, twisted knee and a concussion, trip to the hospital, head X-rays, etc., and mending on the mend.
Damn, dude, yeah. Take care. Don't do that.
I agree. That should not be done. It's true.
Yeah.
So what was your guys' favorite story over the last?
Oh, dude, there were so many to be enraged about. It's really hard to pick one.
Oh, hey, Quiz, did you see the did you watch the trailer for Birds of Prey?
Not the I saw one of them. Is there another one?
There's a full trailer out now.
Oh.
Go watch it real quick because we need to talk about it.
You probably should. You tell me if you see a black mask in there somewhere.
That's what I've heard, is that Ewan McGregor doesn't even wear the black.
No, you're wasting time talking to us. Why aren't you watching this trailer?
All right, give me a sec.
And I would have already sent the tweet out if my Microsoft Word hadn't frozen here, guys. See, no one believes me that I have constant computer problems, but, you know, here we are.
I believe you, because I does that all the time.
I believe you.
Oh, and I see the thumbnail today, too. You motherfucker. You're just going to twist the blade tonight, aren't you?
Uh-huh.
Just because I happen to be right about Spider-Man 2099.
Well, well, it's not because of that alone.
It's a reason, just not the reason.
Exactly. Holy shit, where the fuck is... There it is. The chat, I have a text... what do you want to call it? File? I guess let's go with the word file. Those are the things on computers, right? Where you... to be able to quickly send these things out. And you see how well it works? See how quick everything's happening? I'm not going to rip off Monkey with least professional otter on the internet, but how about most professional otter on the internet? You know why? Because there's no other otters hosting streams. That's why. That makes me the most professional. Wait a minute. Did that tweet go out?
Hold on. I'm doing 5 things at once here.
Oh, no, there we go. Just having computer problems, don't worry. Come on, fucker. Jesus Christ. Chat, you have no idea the fucking tech problems I have. Like, did I ask for that pop-up showing me all of the accompanying hashtags that are currently in the tweet? Have I mentioned in the past 3 days how much I hate the new Twitter interface?
Yes.
In the past 3 days.
But thanks to Shady Grin, a friend of the channel, for retweeting our link out there and sharing it.
Oh, that's great, Shady. Episode 63.
64?
60. Is it 64?
It says 64 on my screen. I don't know what you're looking at.
Okay. You know what? I'm not even putting in the descriptor. You know why?
Well, screw it then. I don't want to put any numbers in.
No. There's the numbers there. It'll just say episode 64. That is the... Oh, Jesus. If you're new to comic book curation, usually it runs much smoother than this, I swear.
Does it? Does it really? Don't lie to the audience. It doesn't run very good at all.
Jack, I'm putting together a tweet live on the air while you're attempting to play the straight man while Quiz isn't here watching a trailer you should have already seen. This isn't good, man.
Talking about this is kind of awesome.
Okay. Hey, Jack.
This is great live TV.
You want to put the link up in the side chat? We usually handle this before we go live, but you know, hey.
Do we?
No, we do, right? The tweet almost always goes out when we go live.
Yeah, it usually does. Usually they just have the screen up.
Yeah, you're back? Always does. Yes, I'm back and I watched it.
Wasn't it great?
I probably will have a different opinion than all of you.
Oh, I don't have a very strong opinion one way or another. It looked like another DCEU film to me.
It looked like they were trying to write an episode of the animated series, to my estimation, but they were constrained by the fact that it's a DC extended universe, movie, so they have to, form fit with the visuals of that. But a lot of it seemed a little fun. Like they had Margot Robbie dressed up as Marilyn Monroe from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. Nods like that I'm down for. There was that one episode of animated series, Harlequinade, where Batman uses Harley Quinn to try and find the Joker, who had a nuclear bomb and was going to blow up the middle of Gotham with it, and uses Harley to find the Joker. And it's actually really good. And I will say this, he's not, he doesn't have, Ewan McGregor doesn't have a black mask in the trailer. Number one, I think they're probably going to use that as a reveal. He may not be Black Mask in the movie, period. He may just be Roman Sionis. So there's that. Black Mask was never really a supervillain. He doesn't get his powers by putting on his black skull mask. He's a gangster.
Yeah.
He just uses the mask as a intimidation tactic.
I thought the trailer looked pretty weak.
It was okay. Like I said, it harkens back to, it gives me good memories and good vibes of the animated series, which I'm all for. The problem is, again, and it was such a bad choice in the Suicide Squad. Take out the tattoos, dude. It's not a good idea. It's not a good look.
It looks silly.
And that's the thing. I'm not against tattoos, okay?
No, but those tattoos are all awful. They look like kind of like the low-end ones you'd get in jail.
Yeah, they don't look good. And that's the thing, is that, you could say that, they're prison tats. Okay, yeah, sure.
No, they don't look like good prison tats, though. They look like the ones you did yourself in a mirror.
But Harley never went to prison.
No.
She has never been to Blackgate. She always goes to Arkham.
And she was a shrink before that, so
Yes.
she's probably a little bit upper class, or at least middle class. Probably has some of the middle class sensibilities. So
She could
yeah,
afford to get a good tattoo.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, I just think the tattoos are lazy. It's supposed
It's
to look edgy, and it doesn't work.
yeah. Like I understand the director of Suicide Squad. I can't remember his name now. I understand his reasoning behind wanting to do it. You know, he said that the Joker and Harley are they're not superpowered and stuff like that. So, and he wanted to give them a sort of unique look, unlike the other superpowers, and that was to make them look like gangsters nowadays. And I understand that idea. I just think it was a bad idea. Sorry, but it is.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. Just gonna say it. But again, I'm not overly thrilled to see this movie, but I don't think it looked bad. And I know I'm probably in the vast minority there, but whatever, I'm having fun. Fuck you.
Man, oh my God. I cannot tell you the hopes that I have that reinstalling my operating system is going to fix this fucking chat problem.
Uh-oh. What happened?
Oh, I don't want to go through it again. It's just problems with fucking chat that I'm very much hoping reinstalling my operating system is going to fix. I just came to find out that if you don't reinstall your operating system from scratch, you do the repair option, not the complete reinstall that it offers. No, it won't delete any of your personal data. However, it will delete all of your apps, which means you need to go around and do a complete listing recording of everything you have installed on your computer so you can go through the fucking insanely tedious process of reinstalling all of it over again, which differs how from deleting all of your fucking personal data? It would be simpler, or not much more complex, than simply just taking everything in the user file underneath my user file name and transferring it to an external hard drive. How the fuck is that any more straightforward?
Yeah, so links are in chat for Polly's Streamlabs. I highly recommend you donate.
Actually, I don't think.
Oh, Evolved Potato's been
oh, that's right.
linking it.
Oh my God, the fucking headaches, man. I swear,
I agree, man.
The universe produced gremlins particularly to haunt my computer, not the regular ones, special ones. It's just
Special gremlins.
Fuck.
They're running around with little, circular disc masks, and they're just doing it just to piss you off.
Well, you tell me, Quiz. How many times have I told you about some kind of tech problem I'm having, and your response has been, "I've never heard of that happening to anyone ever."
Yeah, that's literally every tech problem you have.
See? All right. So while we're here,
yes,
so others can suffer along with me. So I just have to.
I was gonna say, well, what's your thoughts on it, Polly?
On what? The trailer?
Yeah, Birds of Prey.
And it looked like a DCEU film to me. It looked like they slightly turned the gamma down and turned the fucking exposure up on a classic DCEU film. Oh my God, I'm so crazy and edgy, and teenage girls are going to love this because we're a bunch of 40-year-old men that are writing towards edgy teenage girls, and we're totally missing the mark, but it's going to work, right?
I mean, it does.
I feel like you're judging me.
You feel like what, Jack?
I feel like you're judging me.
Did you think it was going to work really well for edgy teenage girls?
I think lots of things I do will work for edgy 18-year-old girls.
I had to put the 18 because that's illegal.
I'm right.
In his state, yeah.
I got enough people nosing around my business.
So here we go. Here's the thumbnail for this week. We have Tempstress eroticus clitoris, an inquisitor here.
I don't think that's supposed to be Amberly Vale, but it is supposed to be an inquisitor.
I like Tempstress eroticus clitoris myself.
I don't see a symbol of Slaanesh anywhere in that picture.
Well, wait, you just go with some kind of faux Latin and then you're there, right?
No, well, yes, yeah.
No, it is. What'd you call her? Amberly Clitoris? What was her name?
Well, the character that I was referring to is Amberly Vale. She's a
That's it. Yeah,
famous Inquisitor.
That was the name that was on the file. I don't know. I just went look. Yeah, I just went looking for sexy 40k. This was on DeviantArt, man. What do you know?
It's supposed to be Amberly, really?
Well, hold on. Double check.
Only you care, Quiz.
Well, I'm reading the books, all right?
God damn you.
Blonde. She's blonde, so she got that.
It's no, it's Lilith Abwifwaquarn.
So James Colley said, "Ever notice that when something happens to Polydub, it's quote special quote." Yeah. And Dr. No asked us if we're going to go see the Joker. I'm probably going to see it tomorrow.
I'm not going to be able to go tomorrow, but I definitely will this weekend. I'll probably go Friday night after work.
Cool. What about you, Polly? You going to go see it?
Yep. I mean, I'm not going to be in any big rush, and like it's just, I don't know, whatever. I'm going to get, I don't know. I'm not going to pay for it.
Oh, let's see. I'm absolutely going to pay for it. And the only other movie that's coming out this month that I have any sort of inkling to go see is the Jay and Silent Bob reboot. So,
oh, is that coming out soon?
The 15th.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had no idea it was so early. I didn't even know there was a goddamn trailer out for the Jay and Silent Bob
I
reboot.
didn't even know they were doing a reboot.
That's the name of the movie, is Reboot.
Oh.
Because it's all about
that's so clever.
Well, it's the third, or no, the last movie that they made, the Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, was all about them going to Hollywood to stop a movie being made about their comic book characters, Bluntman and Chronic. Well, the premise of this movie is that they are rebooting that movie. So Jay and Silent Bob have to go back to Hollywood to stop the reboot from happening.
I was unaware this movie was being made. I think I may have passingly have heard it, but didn't believe it or something. I don't know.
I'll say I like Kevin Smith's movies, so sue me.
Even like Yoga Hosers.
No, Yoga Hosers was garbage. I'm with Brad Jones on his estimation about that, is that Kevin Smith is a brilliant filmmaker. He is absolutely amazing at writing dialogue and all that kind of stuff, but Kevin, lay off the weed, dude.
Right? Like, I think he's somebody that kind of needs some people around him to be like, no, that's a bad idea.
He needs a don't do that, that's dumb editor. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I guess.
He doesn't always have to listen to that person, but he needs that person in his life.
Evil One brings up Red State. I loved Red State. I thought that was a great movie.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
I loved all of the stuff that Kevin Smith was talking about. Like he went on, those tours talking to film students, and he brought up Red State, and he's like, you know what I wanted to do for the ending of Red State? I wanted it to be the end of that movie was the rapture. And then like all of the people that he was talking to was like, you don't have the balls to do something like that. So apparently he did cut a different version of Red State that will be or that, whether or not it's actually released or not, but yeah, there's an ending of Red State where it's the rapture happens. And Dr. No asked if there was going to be a Clerks 3. No. Kevin Smith actually brought it up on one of his, I can't remember if it was one of his podcasts. It's either Hollywood Babylon or, what's his other one? Fat Man on Batman, where he said that he was in the talks to get Clerks 3, but before that, Mallrats 2 was what he wanted to do. So he went to one of the executives. I can't remember which one. It was like Miramax or one of the, one of those Paramount, whoever owns the rights to Mallrats. And he goes, "Hey man, I'd really like to make this this movie. I'm independent filmmaker and stuff, but you own the rights to this movie, so I want to make a sequel." And the executive he talked to immediately went, "We own that?" And then proceeded to tell him no.
Well,
I'm pissed, man. Mallrats 2 would have been awesome. I fucking love Mallrats. It's my favorite one of all of the Jay and Silent Bob movies.
Yeah, I'm surprised I said no to that, because that's like free money.
Yeah, man. That's like, seriously, it's one of the most well-regarded Kevin Smith comedies.
Guys, no one's gonna watch it in China. That's what matters.
Yeah, I guess. That's true.
Maybe. I mean, it's stoner humor, but you never know. I don't know. I wouldn't be so quick to dismiss it if a well-known director with a history of producing money. I mean, Kevin Smith doesn't lose a lot of money in his films. They're all super low budget.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got a fan base built in. I think it's foolish to outright dismiss that.
Yeah.
This is Stanley is dead for a cameo. Nah, they'll use CGI and holograms and bring him back like Tupac. I mean, even the dead don't get out of this anymore.
No, they'll use a cardboard standee and have somebody just like clip a bunch of audio from other Stanley media and try and wedge it in there so it's all disjointed.
Well, see, that's the thing is, like, yeah, it could have been amazing if Kevin Smith decided to do this way earlier, and then he'd used like different comic book creators, legendary comic book creators, not just Stan Lee, for all of that. But that's a little too late, sort of thing. Not to mention also Jason Lee is really old. So yeah, that's a little. And it's funny too because he's actually reprising his role as I can't remember what his character's name was, but the character he played in Chasing Amy, the inker.
Oh yeah.
Who's Jason Lee?
Jason Lee's an actor. He was in Chasing Amy and Mallrats.
Who was he in Mallrats?
He was Brody.
He was Brody. He was the comic book obsessed dude.
Oh, okay, that guy.
Just like my name is Earl.
You think they'll be able to get like old Ben Affleck back to be an ass rapist again?
Yes, in fact, actually, Ben Affleck and Matt Damon are on for Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
No, he says his name wrong.
Matt Damon. Matt Damon.
Well, let's talk about Mark Hamill being a douchebag.
Oh yeah, I heard about this.
Over on Bleeding Fool here. At Star Wars' Mark Hamill and the end of fandom. Picture Michael Jordan with one of his radically overpriced sweatshop shoes.
Well, now you just had to kill the illusion, didn't you, Polly? What? Now we know you're not black.
Oh man, I'll be the first to say Jordans are like, most of them look like lunar boots. They look awful. Anyway. There's a story, perhaps apocryphal, that many years ago, basketball legend Michael Jordan was asked why he didn't speak out on the various political issues of the day. His reported response, Republicans buy shoes too. Once upon a time, there was a pretty common sentiment. Did I say the same thing twice? Whatever, moving on. Yeah. Entertainment was for the masses, and while Hollywood was always a sink of immorality and corruption, its leaders worked hard to hide it from public. I just didn't expect that in the middle of this sentence. Its leaders worked hard to hide it from public view. That's why they always kept their weirdo pool parties with dramatically underage children away from public view. Reportedly, allegedly. There's been repeated documentaries about that. In any case, similarly, celebrities have always had personal opinions about all sorts of things, usually stupid. But it's only in the social media age that they feel compelled to share their insights on absolutely everything, to the detriment of society as a whole. Back in the day, entertainers were often discovered by chance. Many came from very humble origins and therefore acutely aware Their huge paycheck had absolutely nothing to do with their political insights. Looking at you, Mark Ruffalo. They were rich because they could play an instrument, sing, dance, or lie convincingly in front of a camera. Alas, the growth of celebrity culture has convinced these savants. Really? That's kind of a compliment.
Left off the word idiot. So.
Right. That everyone who buys a ticket to their space fantasy or superhero movie is dying to receive their life lessons. This is particularly rich given the fact that most of them are drug-addicted failures at life. Jesus Christ.
As funny as it is, I have to point out we have to remain consistent here. This is blog tier stuff here. This is not journalism.
No, yeah. I mean, this is Bleeding Fool. It's still a blog. I mean, yeah. I like Bleeding Fool, but it's you're right. It's a blog. So here's the tweet that
Ain't news.
Yeah. Well, I like Bleeding Fool. It's a counter blog to the other blogs.
And I'm okay with that. Just we need to be consistent here and point out that yes, this is a blog.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like they're saying this, and it's for the sake of entertainment, and that's why I'm finding what they're saying funny. You're not supposed to open. One wouldn't expect to open the Washington Post and read similar material, and have the people who wrote it and the editors in charge of it expect you to take it seriously. No, This is entertainment blog stuff. That's it. And unfortunately, 2/3 of the material in the Washington Post qualifies similarly. Anyway, here's the tweet that Ivanka Trump sent out. The force is strong in my family. Here's a little kid mugging for the camera in a stormtrooper outfit. And two kids are looking, and there they all are dressed up. And the force is strong in my family. Your hatred has made you stupid. All of this brings us to the latest example of Hollywood stupidity. For those who haven't heard, one of the president's grandkids dressed up as a New Order stormtrooper. And his mother used a well-known quote from the original, that is, non-crappy, Star Wars films in her tweet. Mark Hamill was outraged, which is strange. Given the guy has little to brag about in his stunted film career, one might think he would welcome a new generation embracing his life's work, particularly if they don't agree with him politically. And of course, there's...
Wing Commander was a success, just not a big one.
Yes, even I've heard of Wing Commander, and how beloved it is amongst those who it is beloved by. Here's Mark Hamill's infamous, in my opinion, response. You misspelled fraud, hashtag go force yourself. I.e., the fraud is strong in my family. Ooh, burned to Mark. Perhaps this shared...
I do like go force yourself. That's pretty, yeah.
Perhaps this shared... Well, so now... Let's just have a little moment of honesty. Hashtag go force yourself. If this was in a different political direction, say directed at the Obama family by some right-wing Hollywood star, there aren't many of them, but they're out there. This would be go force yourself. All the news entertainers all over MSNBC and CNN would be sitting around in their roundtables of idiocy talking about how this is a blatant threat of sexual violence towards the president's family. They would. Tell me I'm lying.
You ain't wrong. You aren't wrong.
Yeah. I mean, remember Anna Navarro and all of them on CNN saying that the Trump gif that he retweeted out of him punching the guy on that wrestling match with the CNN logo floating over his head, that this was an obvious call for violence against the media? Mm-hmm. Like, that's their hot take. Go force yourself? This is obviously a threat of sexual violence against the president's family. No, not even. It's just Mark Hamill's trying to weigh in, and Twitter... I like Tucker Carlson's description of Twitter. I know we're not trying to get too political. It's got like Mark Hamill, but Twitter is the place where you display your worst self. And it seems like Tucker's not that far off on that. It seems most people go on Twitter and display the worst possible version of themselves that they can. I don't know what it is about the environment. Maybe it's the 280 characters, and I don't know. But in any case,
it's like when you're driving your car, you're in your little bubble. You think this is your vehicle, this is your space, and you can do whatever the fuck you want, and nobody will do anything about it.
You know what? That's a fair analogy. I think I'd go along with that for the most part. Yeah.
Yeah, but when you're driving in your car is self-contained. When you put out a tweet, it's there for everyone to read.
Yeah, but literally a lot of people
the entire world.
And a lot of people don't think of that, though. They think of it like, haha, my friends are going to see this.
No, everyone can see this.
And everyone can hear it. And Sinatra has like, it says, yeah, awesome, dunking on a toddler, dope, super cool, Mark. I've heard that take in a number of places, and I think Sinatra and they are right. It's like, Mark, how did you not see that this is like, well, come on. Look, it's a little kid, for Christ's sake. He doesn't even come up to her hip. Like, it's a little kid, and he's mugging for the camera because he loves his little Star Wars outfit. The fuck is wrong with you? You're a grown man. What are you doing?
Poor form to look like you're picking on someone's kids.
Well, it's not only that. I think that if I can be as generous as I possibly can to Mark, we need to give at least a little bit of credence to the idea that this is probably a stunt, so to speak, to get in good with the establishment because he wants to be in a movie or something.
Yeah, because it's a virtue signal.
Yeah, we all know that the reason why these people do and say these things is because they get PP touches from all of the people that will give them one for, going off on the orange man bad.
Yeah.
Even when they didn't before. So it's
I hear you.
The game.
I mean, we
don't play the game.
We talked about it before. How many people are going along to get along? There is no telling, but it's reasonable to expect. I think a good number of them.
Yeah. I like that's one thing I mentioned before when we were talking about this sort of stuff before we went live. I was lamenting about the state of celebrity and people pandering to celebrities. If I can give any sort of person that is in the limelight any sort of advice, I would say that the moment someone asks you a question that's politically charged or some sort of way to divide is to look the interviewer directly in the eye and tell them to go fuck themselves. I am not a politician, I'm an entertainer. The moment you're asking me to comment on politics is the moment where I compromise all of my beliefs. Go fuck yourself. That is exactly what every single one of these people should be saying. And they don't. Why? Because Orange Man Bad gets them internet PP touches. Or no, Hollywood PP touches.
Well, you got to remember that most celebrities are idiots and they're narcissists. So that's a bad combination.
Really quick over on the Streamlabs. Sinatra says, Clerks 3 is happening. Smith tweeted it.
I saw Sinatra. I responded to you in chat. Yeah, I know. I'm cool with that, man. I do know that he had a whole thing where he was trying to shop around and get Mallrats 2, and then he tried to get Clerks 3, and they wouldn't let him for a while, and all sorts of shit like that. So this is the first I've heard about it being a positive that they said yes, but. Yeah, no, that's cool, man. I'm all for them doing Clerks 3. I loved Clerks 1. 2 was okay. It wasn't that great. But,
well, Cynical Lindsay has a great point here. If this was Dean Cain dunking on one of the Obama's daughters for their son wearing a Superman costume, the left would be out for his blood. Just saying. Yeah, that is... but those kind of principles don't fucking matter because it's like, yeah, but the Obamas are messianic. The Trumps are an entirely corrupt family and deserve to be called out, and that's the difference. So let's just kill off this article. Perhaps this shared appreciation of art might lead to a greater understanding. I'm old enough to remember when music and culture were things that brought people together. Songs, books, films. There was a whole genre that people could set aside differences and get along. I mean, if nothing else, we could always still buy the world a Coke, right? No, not anymore. Not unless you want to put some strychnine in the Coke for the goddamn GOPers that might be drinking it.
I was gonna say, isn't that a Pepsi? I thought that was what Kylie Jenner was saying.
Well, but even then, I mean, okay, he says, look, that world is gone now. There's clearly a bunch of celebrities who not only hate the public, but they hate their money as well. Hamill seems determined to taint not only the decent portion of the Star Wars catalog by going full Dixie Chicks on its remaining fans. Never go full Dixie Chicks. But, okay, you say the Kylie Jenner ad in Pepsi, and they didn't do it. I'd like to buy the world of Coke with everybody holding hands in this admittedly annoying but somewhat catchy song that everyone was singing together. Their Pepsi ad was, a bunch of brutal police are coming down on the righteous LGBT protesters, and Kylie Jenner pulls off her blonde wig to reveal her natural dark hair and goes and offers the filthy pig overlord a Pepsi, and maybe then he'll understand how privileged and racist he is. And that's why they took that ridiculous commercial down almost immediately, because it was a fucking farce. That wasn't exactly a bunch of people singing, holding hands and offering everyone a Coke, you know? It was still buying into that world is gone, as this blog says.
Holly, how can you get along with a fascist?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. That's the perspective, right? This is not the same thing. I can go after a little kid because, do your children know what frauds you are? Are you raising them to be racists like you? I mean, it's fuck them. Fuck them. There's backing off from this until Trump's out of office.
In 6 years.
I did. Yeah, but after that, they'll still carry on with, remember the nightmarish time when America had its own Nazis? Like,
yeah, back
yes, it was in the 40s. There was a legitimate Nazi Party of America in the 40s.
Yeah, and lots of people supported them. Okay, well, a surprising number of people supported them. Here, let's go over and talk about the insanity of the Joker film, because, hey, fuck, we're in full clown world. Why not? Let's talk about the clown.
Yeah, I heard about, was it New York that's screening the people going there, is putting it on high alert because incel violence.
Well, if you bothered to look up at your screen, you'd see that that's the exact article I just put up. Joker Joker hysteria continues as NYPD to deploy undercover officers to opening weekend screenings. Wonderful.
You know what that's going to do?
Maybe
somebody's going to see a cop undercover, and they'll get a flash of his gun and freak out.
Yeah, because they're going to think that he's the shooter.
Right. Good call. Someone's going to see something, completely misunderstand it, and yeah. Can you imagine how many false...
idea.
I didn't even think about that, Jack. You imagine how many false alarm calls there's going to be because of the heightened circumstances of this film?
Well, you know what's going to happen. That cop's going to be sitting in the audience looking around. Somebody will see him looking around, think that's weird, and he'll move and his shirt will hike up and you'll see his gun on his belt. Not the shield, because of the angle they're sitting at. When you're sitting down, shield's going to be in front by your belt buckle. Your gun's on your over by your hip. So they're going to see that and be like, oh my God, that guy's going to kill us all. And they'll freak out and chaos ensues. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy.
James Colley, you mean all the Republicans and Democrats are gone? Well, I guess I'll have a Coke. Good reference, dude. I love it.
I don't get it. What's the reference?
Well, you don't want me to actually say the joke, but it's from Boondock Saints.
Oh.
It's an extremely racist joke, and it ends with, so all of the racial epithet and other racial epithet are gone. Well, I guess I'll have a Coke then.
I remember the joke you were talking about. Yeah, okay.
I don't watch the Boondocks, so
why not?
Boondock Saints.
I don't watch the Boondocks. Yeah, you're racist. Speaking of which,
I understand that my privilege would get in the way if by watching it would skew the demographics, and I don't want to abuse my privilege that way.
You don't want to marginalize them.
Nope.
Marginalize those cartoons. It's fine.
Where the hell is it? Have I complained in the past 15 minutes about the new Twitter interface and how bad it sucks?
Yes.
Oh, the new Twitter. All Twitter just sucks. Period.
Well, all of Twitter sucks, but they had to make it like 3 times as worse. And speaking of threes, I think one of the main reasons that they're not willing to alter it, like that they keep going ahead, is because they publicly announced, here's the 3 brave, proud, fat, land-dwelling butter whales that produce this, and they don't want to say that it was wrong because,
women can't make mistakes.
Exactly. Well, women can make mistakes, just not the proud, stunning, and brave ones that work for them.
Well, yeah,
those butter whales. They're endangered, Polly.
They make mistakes by existing.
Okay, where was I? What article was I looking at?
They're endangered, Polly. Shush.
Oh, I just changed screens. What are
butter whales are not endangered? They're expanding their numbers faster than polar bears.
Joker hysteria.
Yes. Don't say that name, Polly. You're going to cause some incel violence.
There it is. Okay. As the commercial news induced hysteria surrounding hypothetical violence inspired by the Joker continues to grip headlines. The New York City Police Department has confirmed that they will be sending uniformed and undercover officers to opening weekend screenings of the film as a precautionary measure. According to Deadline, police will I don't know why I made it
Deadline? Oh, man.
See what Frosted said?
No.
I am altering Twitter. Pray I do not alter it further.
Okay, that was good.
I am altering Twitter.
That was
Pray
good.
I do not alter it anymore.
BG, women. He said women can't make mistakes. How do you explain your dating history then? Because I'm
Ouch.
awesome.
Ouch. Jesus, that was unexpectedly cold and harsh, but all right. According to Deadline, police will be present at theaters in Manhattan, the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Staten Island. A law enforcement official stated that this, quote, 360-degree policing approach. You mean like full-on 1984 NSOC approach?
Yeah, they're cordoning off the whole block. You need to pass a checkpoint, Polly.
Wow, I can't believe they just called that's such a bad euphemism. So anyway, this complete encirclement policing approach is to ensure the safety for ticket buyers in their seats as well as on the streets. Wow. If something happens inside one of the screenings, we intend to be able to pacify the situation quickly and conclusively. That is so ominous, guys.
Yes, the cops are going to be shooting in the crowd. That's what I'm hearing.
Yep.
Pacification? I mean, that's military terminology when you're entering into urban pacification.
Dude, they drive MRAPs. They have all the military gear. Of course they're using military terminology. They tend to prefer to hire military soldiers. Our cops have been getting militarized for years now.
Oh, I see. So Sinatra's off to bed now. He complains I haven't sent him the link because I didn't invite him, which I did invite him, and then I just sent him the link, and how does he respond? I tell him he's going off to bed. See how it is, guys? See how it is? That fake
Hi,
Sinatra.
That fake victim narrative. In any case, where...
Show of hands, how many of you just looked at the Hangouts to see if Sinatra actually did come in?
No, I'm trying to look back to where I was. Further emphasizing the precautionary nature of this deployment, an NYPD spokesman confirmed to Deadline that there are no specific or credible threats at this time. Didn't stop you from spending how much in taxpayer money getting ready for a hypothetical threat that's very unlikely to come to any kind of problem? Yeah. Quote, there are no specific or credible threats at this time, but we read the newspapers and blogs too, and after all, Twitter is how we make our life decisions, so we went ahead anyway. I'm just kidding, that's not what it says.
I wouldn't at all be surprised, though.
Frosted Glass is right, though. This is just free publicity.
Yeah,
they couldn't have asked for anything better. And what gets me is this is all because of that stupid Aurora shooter that shot up during Dark Knight.
Yeah.
And
it wasn't even because of the movie, man. It could have been like, fucking Sister of the Traveling Pants. He still would have shot up the place.
And he didn't call himself Joker. The media did that. Yep. This is all something that's ginned up by the media for the media. He just happened to have colored hair. And Joker's a Batman supervillain. It could have been any movie. Although, if you're gonna shoot up a movie, don't do a good one. Pick something garbage like.
Oh no! Come on! If they had shot up Moonlight, it would be. It's because it was focused on a gay black immigrant male, like that.
No, like Twilight. Come on.
Oh yeah. The vampy incels are on the rise. Really quick over on the Streamlabs. Thank you very much, Manic. Quiz got an endangered butter whale joke in before me, so have another heart emoji. Thank you, Manic. Where was I? Oh, there are no specific credible threats, right?
Yep.
We will continue to closely monitor. Any additional personnel will be deployed as needed, again with the military terminology. Members of the public are encouraged to help police in a shared responsibility for public safety. If you see something, say something by calling 911. Make sure to flood our emergency services with your imagined paranoia fueled by an entertainment industry bent on crazy ideology.
Yep. I mean, those people having heart attacks and shit, they can wait.
Yeah,
we gotta worry about phantom criminals.
I mean, we're talking about the angry white male, the threat that's going to kill us all. Am I right?
Ugh. Old Boydie.
The heightened paranoia surrounding the premiere of Joker has been fueled by journalists who have declared the film to be a promotion of incel violence solely due to the film's subject matter rather than viewing the actual film, which most of them had not seen but didn't stop them from carrying on anyway. This popular narrative has led to incidents such as Rotten Tomatoes critics giving the film negative reviews due to a perceived aggrandization of the Joker's circumstances and actions, and the United States Army warning employees of potential incel extremists.
This is ridiculous. Taxi Driver has been out for 30 years?
Right.
And I guarantee you that movie is more incel oriented than the Joker's going to be. The Joker's about a disturbed loner becoming a criminal. That it's not Taxi Driver. In Taxi Driver, he gets away with it.
Yeah.
In Joker, Batman is the counter to that.
And goes after politicians, and it's incel point for point. The descent into madness that the guy, because out of loneliness and confusion and inability to connect with anybody, you're absolutely right. Like the term incel didn't exist at the time, but like, I mean, it was a film, and did it inspire certain people? It might have connected with certain people that felt a certain way, but they felt that way before they ever saw the film.
Hate fact. It's the Catcher in the Rye scenario. You know, did the book cause the problem, or did the problem exist before you read the book? So I think that Taxi Driver is a much more interesting argument for incel violence, because that one actually like celebrates the character more.
Yeah.
He gets away with it at the end.
I agree.
And
I agree.
Spoiler alert if you haven't seen a 30-year-old movie.
Well, well, to be honest, he gets away with
you.
it, but his continuing madness is made apparent. It didn't make anything better for him, everything he did. So like
it's a character study.
Yeah, huge tragic tale. There's nothing glorifying about it. It's, you know,
yeah, and I don't think this is going to glorify anything either.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you think that this is going to glorify anything? No. He's the
No
villain.
one thinks that. He's a bad guy. We all know that because we've all been living in the modern era of pop culture, where even people in Thailand know who Batman is. And, you know, third worlders that don't have the internet know who Batman and the Joker are. This is ridiculous. It's a bunch of nonsense, and they're not drawing a parallel to a top 100 movie. Why are they drawing it to this? This is just going to make this movie way more popular than it would have been before.
Yeah, and truth be told, I'm okay with that. I am perfectly fine with all of this free publicity, because number one, it's going to drum in a whole lot of people that probably would not have seen the movie regardless. Number two, I think it's an artsy-fartsy film. There should be more of those. So yeah, absolutely, definitely, you know, bring that in. And then also, it's the fact that these people are doing it, are going to go see this movie just to spite you. You do know that, right? Or is that what you're counting on?
They're counting on some lunatic seeing it and going and committing a crime dressed like the Joker.
And that's the worst part. And ew, that's the worst part.
Oh, I thought I muted my mic. I'm sorry. Jesus Christ. I actually reached up and hit the button, but I didn't go. I really apologize, Chad. Sorry.
Frosted makes a good point.
Jesus Christ.
I remember when I saw the Great Train Robbery and started holding up locomotives.
Yeah, right. It's so strange that these, like, the worst part about it is you're not wrong. These people probably do want to see some violence happen. That's terrible.
It's sick. It's psychotic. And they're going to jack off to it for months if it happens too. And they talk about mass shooters all the time. And then they give their names. They give all these personal details, and we forget about the victims. Can you name 10 victims of mass shootings off the top of your head if you're not a crime noir huge buff? No, because the average person can't. But you all know who Klebold and Harris are, because the media perpetuates this shit.
I know Klebold. Who's the other guy? What's his name?
Klebold and Harris. They're the Columbine shooters.
No, I know. Well, it's hard to forget Klebold. But I mean, it's the other, like, Harris is just sort of like a common name. So
he was like the Ringo Starr of the group. So
the group of two.
There's always a Ringo Starr, buddy. But yeah, it's they want to perpetuate their own news cycle, and they do that by creating these scenarios. And then when the follow through happens, they get all excited about it, because that's another couple of weeks worth of entertainment they could talk about. I bet Don Lemon will be jerking one off the second there's a shooting out there.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, chat is literally full from top to bottom with nothing but references to my birthday. I'm sorry. I tried to reach up and hit the button and I didn't get it all the way in. That was really rude. I'm sorry.
Yeah, normally you're really good about that. But yeah, no. See, there's a really good cartoon that Rice Pirate put out, all about gun control and, like, turning the whole idea into a big a big jokey joke that ends with a reference to Zardoz. But there's a bit in it that's absolutely 100% correct, where one person says, don't blame us, blame the video games. And he goes, I don't blame video games. He's like, have you ever played a video game? I blame the news for turning all of these mass shooters into supervillains. Yes, absolutely fucking that. Stop it.
Well, let's go on to the second part of this story as it's kind of going on here. The director Todd Phillips describes Joker critics slamming the film for its violence as bizarre. He also said he got out of comedy because of the woke culture, and it's more. You've heard me claim this before. Like, it just, more people need to be called out. More Sarah Silvermans, more people that think they're woke need to be called out for. Not this denouncement until the people that are doing it start thinking, well, shit, I don't want to be denounced. And I'm sick of hearing everybody being denounced for everything. Indifference and boredom lay on the other side of this thing. And the faster we get there, the better it's going to be before more people's careers are uselessly destroyed and reputations,
Yeah.
Holly, I denounce you for saying that. Preemptively.
Joker director Todd Phillips and actor Joaquin Phoenix respond to backlash against the film that has deemed it dangerous. Phillips and Phoenix are questioned by IGN, about the backlash to the film, which involved critics equating the violence in the film to real-world violence. Oh, I got a whole bag of fucking middle fingers for those cocksuckers. What the fuck?
Right?
That doesn't even pass the laugh test. It just... well, don't you think that the violence in your films? Yeah. I'm sure a whole bunch of people ran around stabbing kings after watching Macbeth in the fucking 1600s. Fuck off. Anyway, former Marvel Comics editor and current Valiant Comics editor Heather Ontos declared the film, get this, problematic.
Oh, you don't say.
Citing her belief that the Aurora, Colorado shooter was inspired by the Joker.
Oh, well, you were absolutely wrong, Heather Ontos. Thank you for playing. Goodbye.
You're inspired by a character that was created in 1940. Where have all the shooters been in that time? One guy with dyed hair does not a trend make, and it does not show that he was inspired by the Joker. That's a bunch of garbage.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, really quick over on the, excuse me, Streamlabs. Johnny Hellcat, thank you. Next time, go for length, not just power. If you want, for comic effect, add a fart.
Oh, no, dude, seriously, don't combine gaseous emissions. The worst are snarts. It's a sneeze fart. Oh my god.
No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Those hurt.
We're not doing this. We're moving on. For Christ's sake, I've already. No, we're moving on. Okay, so Heather Ontos, the shooter, was inspired by the Joker. 18th Judicial District Attorney George Blachach, the man who prosecuted the shooter, told the Denver Post, quote, "It's not true."
The end. Moving on.
Again, Heather Ontos, you can collect your bag never, and please leave the studio. You are wrong. Thanks for playing.
Yeah, the judge said so in 4 words. That's it. He went on to add, quote, "It is ridiculous, completely unfounded, some of this stuff. It gets repeated by so many sources, people doing their research, that it just becomes real." Oh man, the judge is dropping truth bombs, huh?
Right?
Holy shit, why is that not a widely spread quote? That's some hot shit. That's cool.
Why is it not widely spread? We know why it's not.
Well,
widely
you're right.
probably.
It was a rhetorical. No, you're absolutely. We know why it's not, because it interferes with our ongoing fear-based narrative of, oh my God, something. You know,
Yeah.
I hear you. Todd Phillips responds. Phillips called out the critics right off the bat, noting that many of them have not even seen the film. Yeah, you'd think that would be. Well, yeah.
Well, see, this is a major. There's a name for this, right? There's a name for this sort of thing. And whenever you see anyone doing this, call them out on it, and prove to them, show them what idiots they're being because of it. It's a simple principle called contempt prior to investigation. Okay. People do it all the time. They love to rail against something that they have absolutely no knowledge in.
Look, Quiz, I have a problem with this because there are witches here. We just have to find them.
Well, I mean, I wasn't called here for no reason.
Just because the last 10 virgins that we threw in the water sunk to the bottom doesn't mean one of them isn't going to float.
Exactly.
It just means we need to look harder for the witches. They are very cunning and sneaky.
Okay, so Phillips here says, I really think there have been a lot of think pieces written by people who proudly state they haven't even seen the movie, and they don't need to. He added, I would argue that you might want to watch the movie. You might want to watch it with an open mind, said Todd Phillips towards our fellow host Inquisitor before he critiques films that he refuses to watch. Moving on.
Hey, I have never critiqued a movie. I have just given my reason for not seeing it.
I know. I just like busting balls. All right. Phillips then clarified, quote, the movie makes statements about the lack of love, about childhood drama, lack of compassion in the world. I think people can handle that message. Wow. He went full, like, subtle condescension there, right? Like, I think you can handle it. You know what I mean? That was good.
They can't handle it. What's he talking about?
Well, imagine what this guy, the director of the film, thinks. Like, he puts his film together, and then all of a sudden this starts. Yeah, as like, if you're a filmmaker director, you're some kind of artist. You have like creative input. You're the director, so you're in charge of it all. And people start talking all this crap about this film you've made, and they're proudly saying, I haven't seen it and I don't need to. Now here's an entire, quote, think piece of my opinions of it. Imagine how incredibly frustrating that would be for you as a director. Like, what the fuck, man? I think he's taking this pretty well, all things considered.
Well, didn't Warner Brothers completely shut down their red carpet for this movie because of these people and their ridiculousness?
It was either in the previous story or in this one. They only allowed photography journalists there because of all the crap going on in and around it.
Yeah.
It must have been in the last article that said something about that, and I just moved beyond it. Joaquin Phoenix responds. I didn't realize he said stuff about this. Let's see what he says. Who walked out of an interview over a question equating the violence portrayed in the Joker film inspiring real world violence, would also respond to the backlash. Phoenix detailed it's not the film's responsibility to teach the viewer the difference between right and wrong. Quote, well, I think that, for most of us, you're able to tell the difference between right and wrong. And those of us who aren't capable of interpreting anything in that way, that they may not want to. People misinterpret lyrics of a song. They misinterpret passages from books. So I don't think it's the responsibility of a filmmaker to teach the audience morality or the difference between right and wrong. I mean, to me, I think that's obvious.
I agree completely.
Yeah, I mean, he just kind of laid it out there, didn't he? I mean, that's...
if they really wanted to troll the media, what they should have done was everybody that went to the red carpet should have been dressed like the Joker.
Well, it couldn't have been in New York because then they'd had police on them.
Yeah, I mean,
the undercover cops would have to dress like the Joker too.
He said similar to the same kind of thing that we had just said a few minutes ago. I think that if you have somebody that has that level of emotional disturbance, they can find fuel anywhere. I don't think you can function that way. Yeah.
Yeah, he's right. Yeah. That's exactly what I was just saying.
Yeah, I agree.
This idea that a movie is dangerous is very close to what the Soviets did with, these ideas are dangerous. We have to suppress them.
How is saying that we have fears about incel violence because of this movie, how is that any different then video games cause mass shootings. And
That's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's all about censorship.
Yeah, everyone has been laughed out of the fucking, laughed out of existence because of these notions that video games cause violence. Oh, but no, somehow movies are exempt from that ridicule, right?
Yep.
Give me a fucking break, dude.
Hold on, I'm just... Well, we did a bunch of stories like that, and so I came across something that... Oh, hold on, wait for those pictures. Load, damn you! There we go. Let's just do something fun and different. So this is a Bleeding Cool article, and I hate Bleeding Cool. You guys know that because they're shilltastic media.
And they have a lot of pop-ups.
And Access Media, they give glowing reviews to all the horrible shit.
Yeah, and they're the worst kind of Access Media, where it's nobody will talk to us unless they're like a Newsarama. Nobody. I mean, why is it that Mark Wade chose to talk to them when he wouldn't talk to anyone else? Because he knew that it was going to be a softball safe space type interview, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's kind of annoying when you come across them talking about a new product coming out, but it's something you actually wanted to hear about. But I'm stuck in this position of being, okay, Bleeding Cool, you're talking about something I'm actually interested in, but I realize this isn't an article, it's an advertisement that you guys have been paid to do. And it's, I guess I wouldn't mind if you were shilltastic, if all you were doing was doing advertisements for new products, but they don't do just that. I think the difference is they also, okay, new products coming out. Well, Cyberfrog is the largest crowdfunded comic of all time. You got right behind it Richard C. Myers comic books that are outselling the big two, DC and Marvel's comic books. They go unmentioned except for criticisms of how they're a bunch of Nazis and incel overlords and every other damn thing. See what I mean? So it's not just promoting new stuff coming out in advertisement, literature, and Access Media. It's also extremely ideological, and I think that's the difference. But let's talk about something they advertise that is cool. Here, quiz. Check this out. Wonder Woman goes classical Greek in a new cryptozoic statue. Look at the statue.
And say I gotta take about 10 seconds.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess that's true. Here, we'll stop at the packaging. And I even like the packaging.
You're checking out the package.
God damn it, Jack.
Package ing. Jesus.
I don't care if it's Chinese, you're still checking out the package.
No, you just got gay on the brain. Don't bring it to me.
Oh, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean, look at it in like the nice photography, man. Like the classic white marble with the gold highlights, including the shield. I'm loving this, man. I think it looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, and say that's like when you were talking about Cryptozoic, I was all like, marble statues. I mean,
is Cryptozoic a Marvel company?
Marble.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is that? I don't know that word Cryptozoic at all. Is that what it refers to? Marble?
Well,
they make trading cards more than anything.
Okay. I like I said, I don't know what that's the first time I've encountered that word as far as I know. So you guys are gonna have to tell me. I think it looks like, I mean, superheroes as modern myth, to combine like Diana, who is out of mythology, but is a superhero, but making her up as a Greek mythological character. I love the shit out of this. It looks great.
Yeah. I'm actually kind of shocked that Bleeding Cool would show this statue, because I'm looking on Cryptozoic's website right now at it, and her costume don't have a back.
No, they show it from here it is from the back, so Jack can see. Well, yeah. That's sexist.
I was gonna say it's overtly sexual, and we all know how feminists like that.
Like, and the base that she's standing on, it has the little swirlies, like the top and bottoms of a pillar, classical world pillar. Fucking awesome. Yeah, and then look there. I'll just leave it on the face. Yeah, so I'm a big fan. It's not a lot of these super expensive, detailed models for adults kind of thing that I get into. Some of them look really cool. Very few I ever think, hey, if I had the money, I'd buy that. This is one of them. This is super sweet. Yeah, Ebony Williams says she looks like Athena. Yeah, in a lot of ways. There's so many callbacks, but then they put her in the armor and they give her the headband, and it just seals it as Diana. You know?
I really love the gold accents. That looks really cool.
14 inches high. Nice.
Mm-hmm.
And removable spear. Cool. If she were Greek, she'd be hairier, says Frosted Glass.
I mean, yeah.
He's not wrong.
And Pop Tart asks, how's the back sexual? I'm just saying that, have an open back like that can be misconstrued as being sexual in some way. And
no, I mean, Pop Tart, I hear you. And like, there's backless gowns that are quite classy. And back in the day, classical world back in the day, there were lots of backless things and stuff. It's not sexual in our minds that we have a problem with it. Quiz was referencing, and I was agreeing with the land-dwelling butter whales out there. They're, oh my God, they're objectifying.
Well, I'll say this. I most certainly objectified the fuck out of Gal Gadot in Wonder Woman with that backless dress she wore in the ball.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God, that was hot. Yeah. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. That was one of the best parts of Batman v Superman, when Bruce Wayne ran into her at the party they were having, and they were talking about Alexander's sword. Yeah, very cool. And she looks sexy as hell in that classic outfit.
Oh, sexy? Really, Polly? Oh my God.
I know, it's disempowering, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the fatty, fat moo cows are going to be really upset with you, and they'll be like, because they don't move.
I love our nomenclature here. We've got land-dwelling butter whales and the fatty, fat moo cows.
Yeah, they're the ones that grew legs and made it out of the ocean.
Okay.
Yeah, and so Expo Hotep's $150 for that. Yeah, Quiz, fill them in, man. That's not abnormal at all.
No, it's not. I've got the bombshell Harley Quinn that I have was $180. I know that one's actually come down in price because it's actually a lot less rare than it used to be. But some of those bombshell ones, those are made out of some sort of stone. Is it? It might be porcelain. But yeah, no, they're actually, they're actual statues. They're not like, say, PVC or anything like that. Because if they're plastic or anything like that, you'll find that they're going to be way, 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 way less money than any of the ones that are like porcelain or
I know some of the marble statues out there are. Resin has come a long way, where they use literal powderized marble mixed with resin and then more mold poured. And when it comes out, it's like resin's come a long way, man. It looks like it was carved out of a solid piece of marble. It's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah, they break fairly easily, so don't go putting them on shelves that aren't protected.
Fair enough.
A curio cabinet. But no, there are all the statues that you see are very, very expensive. The ones that aren't expensive, don't bother, because they're going to break very easily.
Or if you do want to get any of those, just baby them a little bit. I've got several $50-$60 Harley Quinn statues that are just straight up plastic, but I baby the shit out of everything that I own. So
I would actually almost prefer they were plastic, because then I'm less likely to break them. There's a reason I don't own this stuff, because it's very fragile, and I'm not. I'm that guy that'll turn around and knock 5 things over and be like, oh no.
How much did Van Sciver pay for that super accurate detailed Jabba the Hutt?
I think it was like $200 or $300.
No. It was up near $1,000.
Was it?
Yeah. Because it came with the salacious crumb and the little palace bed and the little pillows and interchangeable arms and mouthpieces and.
I can look it up. I can see exactly how much it is on retail.
Because that's why his wife was like, no. And he's like, but honey, no. Like, you just hear her off camera. It was so funny. And then eventually he got it for Christmas. So I was like, the only ones that have ever interested me, Quiz, you know this because we talked about it, right? That Diana one interests me in a big way because it's just so classic. That's just what a sweet take. That one and Nightmare Batman and the Black Canary Birds of Prey.
Yeah, the bombshell one.
Yeah. Those are the only three I ever looked at and thought, cool, I'd like those. But yeah.
That Jabba the Hutt one is $795.
Rip off.
Well,
I'm sorry. If I have a lot of better things to spend $700 or $800 on.
But I mean, Jack, out of all three of us, you're the guy who understands the whale market the best, right?
Absolutely.
That's who it's aimed at, you know?
Yeah, it's absolutely the whale markets. Jordan asked, "What is there possibly a hashtag he could send memes to?"
Yeah, absolutely. CBC articles, hashtag CBC articles. Yeah, I forget to keep mentioning that. And
it should probably be on the screen somewhere at some point.
You know what? Why the fuck didn't I think of that? Good suggestion, Jack. I will get on that right after.
Why you keep me around, Polly?
I can actually go looking for that too. There could be stuff that you could have like a live scroll of people linking CBC article stuff.
Yeah,
actually, that's not a bad idea to be able to pull the text out of a tweet. I know you can do that and have it scroll across the top. So and so said.
That's a terrible idea, and you know why.
Oh yeah,
it's going to be all N-words.
It's Hitler did nothing wrong, etc., etc. Yeah.
I have a lot more faith in our audience than I would on 4chan's B. All right.
Yeah, but you know somebody's going to leak it.
We're not the people on internet historians coverage here.
Oh, dude, that was so funny. But anyway, to answer the question, when I ran the comic shop, people would occasionally order statues. There is very little markup on those. You are not going to make a lot of money unless it goes up in value and you happen to still be sitting on it. You need to flip those within 30 days or you're probably going to lose money.
Yeah.
And if somebody orders one and doesn't pick it up, they just stuck you with a couple $100 most likely.
Right.
Because I had somebody order a big Galactus statue, and I always charged a deposit.
Sure.
And the deposit was usually 3/4 of the cost of the statue.
Oh, wow.
And I was only pulling like 10% on statues. So, and remember on comics, your minimum is 35. So you're actually investing quite heavily in these statues. And he ended up not picking it up. So I kept his money, and I ended up selling it 6 months later.
Oh.
So I had to sit on this thing the entire time, and it cost, I think I paid $275 my cost for it.
Okay. So
at least you were not that much, right? Because you had at least like 150 something bucks, right?
Yeah, I think he was a regular, so I think I only charged him $100. So I ended up making a profit because I got most of the money back. But that's why they really push those statues, and you don't see a whole lot of them around. If you see a store that has a lot of statues and it's a new store, they're not going to last. They're going to go out of business because they've got way too much money wrapped up in those statues. If they're the big fancy ones, they're the plastic ones or the little paperweight ones. That's fine. Those are fairly cheap. You know, the paperweight bust ones are like $40 or $50, 60 maybe. But that's not that bad. But the big statues, if they've got more than, I would say, half a dozen of them and they're a new store, they're not going to stay in business because they're terrible with their money.
Yeah, there's a chain that have 4 stores up here in the Chicagoland area. Well, Chicagoland and southern Wisconsin, because I think there's one in southern Wisconsin. But that chain, the store nearest to me, they had, I think, like 5 or 6 of the really big statues. But other than that, no, you're absolutely right. They had mostly the small stuff.
Yeah. There's one comic shop I used to go to all the time when I was in college.
Mm-hmm.
I recently went back there to visit while I was in the area. They still have some of the original old resin statues from like 1986, 87 of like the Punisher and stuff like that are still sitting in their store. Wow. And that stuff nobody's ever going to buy because it's so old. The coloring's bad. The sculpting was pretty terrible. They were like early resin statues.
You know, it's bad if they store it like literally within 15 feet of a window.
Oh yeah, yeah. Back then the sun would really do damage to them way more than they do now. Like it looks like somebody hand painted one of those ones you could get from the store when you were a kid to hand paint.
Mhm.
That's what they look like. And oh man, they're atrocious looking. And they're only charging like $40 for them, which is probably what they were when they were new.
Yeah.
But the money value has changed dramatically in 30 years. But it was sad. He's like, yeah, nobody's ever going to buy these. But
Okay,
they're sitting in a cabinet.
let's talk about Tom King.
Oh God.
I know.
Did he finally check himself into a mental institution?
No, not yet, but it does relate to that tangent.
Is anyone else waiting for that dude to just up and jump off a building or something?
No, so here, check this out, okay? Okay.
I've read Batman, and I think he's pretty close to that.
So have I, and this is CBR, one of our favorite shiltastic sites, who just, you know, their hot takes. It's all progressive and social justice-y as fuck. This is a great example of it. New Gods, which is the series that Tom King is now working on after getting the fuck off of Batman finally. Tom King says Ava DuVernay and Jack Kirby are parallel figures.
What?
No.
Yes. Okay, chat. What you just, that moment of silence that you just heard was Jack and Quiz processing, trying to make some kind of sense out of what I just read. And I had the same pause. I was like, what?
That's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard.
I know. Okay, for those who don't know, chat, Jack Kirby is one of the unqualified legends in comic books. Like, good God. The characters that this man created, the style, the people that he influenced. I could just go on and on. I won't, don't worry. But Jack Kirby is a fucking legend. You know what I mean? And Ava DuVernay is a director. Relatively new to the field, does not have a particularly large body of work. So what the fuck are you talking about? Well, let's find out what the fuck he's talking about, shall we? And this is the kind of thing that can only happen on a shiltastic, glorified blog site like CBR, who, by the way, describes themselves as being like the center nexus of all things comic book. Like, if you want to know anything, you need to come to us. You know, that sort of shit.
Yeah. They get all the exclusives, Polly.
Yeah, well, access media, man. It's, well, I get you. I just grabbed your
access
joke, yeah.
to Twitter.
They call everything exclusive, right? Renowned comic book writer Tom King compared filmmaker / producer Ava DuVernay to the late Jack Kirby. In an interview with Publisher Weekly, King was promoting the collected edition of Heroes in Crisis when he alluded to Kirby's life and work being an influence on him. Quote, "I feel like it's incredibly personal work," he said. "But I think that's what makes Jack Kirby special, is that you can read yourself into his work." I'm not even really sure what he meant by that, but it's like, okay, at least he's admitting he was everyone was influenced by Kirby, because whether you meant to be or not, because the person that you idolized Kirby. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, he influences everybody one degree or another. That's the level of influence that the man had in shaping the industry and how Western comics look. Having already reimagined Kirby's Mr. Miracle, King is also in the process of tackling another Kirby work, Warner Brothers' New Gods film, which he is co-writing alongside DuVernay. This is how it happened. Okay?
So that means it's going to be all emo and boring.
Right? I feel like I have this genius, Jack Kirby, who created this series, and this genius, Ava DuVernay, King continued. I see them as parallel figures, both taking their uniquely American backgrounds and using them to push American art forward into places it's never been before. I feel like it's my job to bring these two geniuses together and to make it work.
Okay, number one, I'm a little proud of that. Just to, as an aside, if I can find a silver lining with this. He's saying American and saying it's a good thing.
Yeah, and saying that Ava DuVernay is not like a captive, oppressed victim of America. She's American as Kirby was. End of story. Yeah, I hear you there. I hear you. Yeah.
Or did she just say that a black man and a Jewish man just can't get the recognition they deserve?
Did you just call Ava DuVernay a man?
I don't know. I'm not screen. It's just a woman.
Did you just assume her gender, Jack?
Well, I didn't know what pronoun to use because Ava is a pretty generic name, and I didn't look at the screen, so.
I was just having fun with you, Jack. There's only a few lines left here, so I'll just kill it off. King's focus on bringing two incredible minds from different arenas together certainly showcases his love for comics, especially Kirby. Directed by Ava DuVernay with a script by DuVernay and King, New Gods currently has no release date nor cast announced. So
yeah, it's going to be awful.
What was the point of this article?
Thank you, Quiz.
CBR?
Thank you. That was my whole point in having tabbed this story. What the fuck was the point in this article? What's the news?
I will tell you the point in this article. It was to compare this, to elevate this woman of color and compare her to a legend in the field. Therefore, it is empowering her and pushing forth that she is a wonderful, strong, independent woman that don't need no man.
Well, it's like frosted glasses. Stop it. She doesn't want your pee-pee. And admittedly, if you look at her here, yeah, she actually is a really pretty lady.
Is she the one on the left? Because that's not very flattering.
Jesus Christ. No, the one on the right.
Oh, I wasn't sure who was who.
The old Jewish man is Jack Kirby. The young black woman is Ava DuVernay. Okay.
First of all, look at the way the title is in the image. They didn't put her on the left where her name is. So I assumed she was the dude that looked like Emperor Palpatine, and the one on the right was Jack Kirby. I think that's fairly obvious.
You know what? He does kind of look like Palpatine. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. I see it. Mm-hmm. I can see it. Is he flipping us the bird there? I think he's flipping us the bird.
Yes, he is. He's totally flipping us the bird. Probably because I just called him a sassy black woman.
Being the kind of guy that I am,
what kind of guy are you?
Well, trained researcher by nature, so I can't help but, where are you getting this from? I always want to know your sources, right? So I go off to Publishers Weekly where they got this story from, because this is the question we had, was what? What's the origin of the story? I don't get it. So we go. So here it is on Publishers Weekly. Even superheroes get the blues. Look at him with his sad little knit cap here. Well, you guys will see it come up in a second, but he's got his sad little knit cap. Tom King looking all depressed, like I need therapy badly, which he does.
Oh, he does need therapy.
Yeah. This whole article is about him and the collected edition of Heroes in Crisis. That's it. Now, as any article or profile of a person will, it'll touch on, like, so what are you working on next, Tom? That sort of thing, right? And that's when he mentioned the New Gods thing. When you get to the end of the article, at the CBR article, it says, like, the New Gods film doesn't have a publication or release date, and they haven't even decided, and it doesn't even have funding yet, but they're at the script level. That's it. That's not very far along in the filmmaking process. They haven't even started pre-production yet. They're just at the script level. Mm-hmm. It might not even get made. When you
in that case, I am at the script level right now, and it's amazing.
Yeah. Evil One says the sad little soy hat. Yeah. Well, okay, so when you read through this story, it's all, again, about Heroes in Crisis, and you read through the whole thing, and it's a profile of him talking about what he thought, blah, 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 blah. And then down at the very end, like, I'm talking, this is literally the last paragraph. King speaks about the project with characteristic modesty. I feel like I have this genius Jack Kirby who created the series, and his genius Ava DuVernay. They took only literally the last paragraph and turned it into a whole story quiz. Well, because that's the only time, like Jack said, that they were talking about the black woman that needs help from the fucking honkies to be recognized.
Well, it just it's galling to me, right? The fact that they didn't like, this was actually based on an interview and not a tweet.
Good call.
As CBR want to do.
Do you think CBR even read the whole article? Because I don't.
Probably not. They skipped to the end.
And the reason they didn't talk about Heroes of Crisis is nobody wants to talk about Heroes of Crisis because it was stupid and they were ruining Wally West.
Yeah.
Killing a bunch of other characters. It was fucking lazy.
There's several people I follow on Twitter that shared that exact synopsis of Heroes in Crisis.
Yeah, it was terrible. That was just the most navel-gazing nonsense ever, designed just to destroy some characters. And Tom King cannot write Booster Gold to save his life.
Booster Gold is just supposed to be silly. How hard is it to write silly? He's
somebody that's having fun as opposed to being like a sociopath like Tom King writes him. I think Tom King just huffs his own farts way too much. He's not funny. He's not particularly interesting. He's not that good of a writer. And he's apparently tried to ruin Batman 10 times till Sunday. So fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. I don't like him. I hope he drops out of comics. He gets a job ruining movies or something else. Go away. Leave my hobbies alone.
I don't want him to ruin movies either.
We can ignore a ruined movie. We do that all the time.
Yeah.
So he can ruin one or two movies and make his money and retire off and be sad somewhere else.
It makes me think, because like I've heard him tell people that are being interviewed that are writers, they're not writers and actors. When they go on a press junket, end up telling the same stories over and over again. And I actually completely understand that, because they're canned questions. There's nothing wrong with giving a canned response to a canned question. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
And I've heard King tell this story before in other interviews that I've read, that his first story that he wrote was when he was basically a kid, and it's about what do superheroes do when they're all stripped of their powers. The depression and so on. Does it sound like Heroes in Crisis to you? Like this is the shtick. This is what he likes to work in. I myself have tried my hand at writing some comic scripts. Guess what? I'm drawn to what I like. I'm really influenced by noir fiction. And Frank Miller, obviously, I don't hide that. I'm really influenced by Miller. They're all stories that revolve in and around vigilantism, people who don't have superpowers at all. And in the world that they're in, there are no superheroes. They just decide to become a vigilante. And then it's what the real world consequences of that. They spend more time running from the police who are trying to capture them than they do fighting criminals, because that would be the reality of being a vigilante, realistically. And it's like, no matter how I try, that's where my mind keeps going to. And that's what, I mentioned that because I think that's what's going on with King. I don't think he's capable or wants to, or has the creative resources to not write depressing stories about heroes in depression. He's always done it, and it seems like that's what he's always going to do.
Yeah, he's a professional deconstructionist who works his own problems, and he's like Dan Slott. He's got potential, but he never realizes it because he's busy sniffing his own farts.
Fair enough. I used to think like this guy needs therapy. It's like, it does sound like you need therapy, number one. And number two, it sounds like you need to stretch yourself creatively, where if like, okay, I could tell the little vigilante stories that I want to tell, but I would feel like I need to break out of this genre, or I'm a one-trick pony if I ever got a job as a writer. You know what I mean? I need to try writing something that's completely outside of this genre. First of all, a character needs to have superpowers. The character needs to... I mean, is it any shocker the character I'd like to write for more than anyone would be Moon Knight? Look, vigilante. He doesn't have any superpowers. He's got all these mental issues, and he spends a lot of time running from the cops and trying to figure out who he is. Yeah, it's because it runs right up my alley of what I'm interested in.
So,
like, the biggest challenge for me would be like writing Superman. like ultra powered guy,
there's a level of irony in you wanting to write Moon Knight, because what is Moon Knight a copy of? In a vague way. No, I know Alfred can help you with this, but just I found it curious. That's all.
I mean, yeah, he is a carbon copy of Batman, but you know. So.
Well, Polly's Batman, so oops, sorry, secret revealed.
Can I borrow the car for the weekend, Polly?
You know, you know how people say the problem with Twitter and chat and stuff is that you can't read tone. I'd say that that's true a lot of the time, but then you read things like what Gil Cotto just wrote here. Wait, Polly, are you saying you like noir? It's like we don't even know you. Your cyberpunk neon loving cultivated image is completely different. I defy you to not read a sarcastic tone into that.
Well, sometimes sarcasm is obvious and sometimes it's not so obvious.
I heard no sarcasm presented.
Yeah, it was a completely straight declaration, to be sure.
Yes.
It seemed like a perfectly valid description of their impression of you.
Well, actually, it's I don't know. I think I also like westerns.
I say Ramen Noodle brought up the Moon Knight television show for Disney Plus.
You know, out west is where Los Angeles is, and Los Angeles is the setting for Zorro,
right?
In that area. And you know what movie a young Bruce Wayne was going to see when his parents were brutally gunned down in the alley?
Oh, it was Zorro, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, well, I totally forgot about that until you mentioned it.
Weird.
Leave it alone, Jack. No, but I had totally forgot that it was Zorro he was going.
Was Mask of Zorro?
I don't know. What was it, Jack?
It's either Mask of Zorro or Mark of Zorro. I don't remember off the top of my head.
Of them, yeah.
I'm pretty tired right now. And I'm busy trying to establish some clues for the audience.
So to do an impromptu nerd cred quiz here, what was the theater that they were seeing?
Oh, good. I don't know. What is it? That's a good piece of trivia. I don't know.
It's the Monarch Theater.
Now, that sounds familiar. Did they have the name Monarch up in the 89 Batman film? Is that where I might remember it from? Okay.
Yes,
okay. Because it does sound very familiar. I'm thinking that's got to be from 89 Batman. That I know that then.
Yeah, the family that were like, you know, lost tourists in Gotham that get accosted by the thugs in the alley.
Yeah.
They pass in front of the Monarch Theater.
I still think that was a brilliant fake out on Tim Burton's part.
Yeah, no, you thought it was going to be all about you know, the Waynes, but then it's like, oh no, it's not.
You know that film serves as a good example, doesn't it? Oh, look, you don't need to tell an origin story for.
Yep, there is no origin for Batman.
Like you find out his origin as they talk about it, and Vicky Vale researches his past and stuff, but that happens through newspaper coverage of the incident as she looks into it.
No, they show the Joker gunning down his parents.
Oh yeah, he flashes back to young Jack. That's right.
Yeah. I mean, you ever Dance with the Devil in the Pale Moonlight? But it's just a really quick thing. It's not like focusing on it like almost all Batman movies have for a very, very, very long time. The whole beginning of the movie is always, you know, the pearls falling off. And Comic Book Girl 19 did an absolutely incredible video where she makes a pearl necklace, how pearl necklaces are actually made, to that when the pearl necklace is broken, the pearls don't just come sliding off of the thread.
Yeah, and she makes that point. Yeah, absolutely.
So she's an expert on pearl necklaces.
Yeah, right? Well,
I mean, I'd give her a pearl necklace if you know what I mean.
I don't know if you guys in chat have ever seen Comic Book Girl 19. She used to have a channel on YouTube, still does, but does the majority of her stuff now over on Twitch. Because the constant apocalypses, whatever. Took her.
There's not a plural of apocalypse because it's only meant to happen once.
Good call. Well, actually, I won't get into that nerd level. That's some autistic shit. Well, actually, it just means an apocalypsis in Greek, a strong vision of the things to come. But that doesn't matter here. You're right. Of the biblical apocalypse. Anyway, it was sad what happened to her channel. I mean, the only content on that was questionable was cussing, and there wasn't even that much of it. Fuck, we cuss more here. I mean,
I think she lost interest too because she started doing all those drug videos and random nonsense stuff. And
Well, she
seemed
was
to lose
getting really
interest.
disillusioned with the comic book industry as well. I mean, she had that one video where she's like, "I haven't bought a Marvel comic in over
A
like
year.
5 years,
Yeah.
or yeah, a year."
All right, Cynical Lindsay's off. Have a good night, Lindsay.
Bye, Lindsay.
Hi, Lindsay. But yeah, no, it's like yeah, she got really disillusioned too. I mean, she was as much of an X-Men fan as I am, or as I was. And to see Marvel doing what they've been doing to the X-Men is rather disheartening. And so I don't blame her, not at all.
Okay.
Well, I think as far as the origin story thing goes, if you can't tell a superhero origin by the end of the opening credits, you're incompetent filmmaking.
Yeah.
Because none of them are that complicated.
Yeah, that's very true. And I say there's I don't even think they need to do that. I mean, at this point, the superhero backstory is so ingrained in the cultural zeitgeist that
Yeah, but if you're doing something obscure, like they constantly do this with Spider-Man, they always do the origin movie when there's a new director. If you have to do the origin story, do it in the first 10 minutes and do it during the opening credits.
Well, I think that Spider-Man is one of those characters that is among the cultural zeitgeist. Everyone knows that Superman came from Krypton and
Yeah, I'm
little
not
space
disagreeing with you,
baby
but
Superman.
I'm just saying if you have an obscure character and you're going to do Aztec the movie or you're
Okay.
going to do Argus, you need to wrap it up really early on and get right into the action. Otherwise, it just looks like you're doing lazy storytelling and you only had a 60-page script. So you added 20 minutes onto it by doing an origin.
Mm.
Wrap it up before the end credits, the opening credits.
Opening credits, yeah.
Yeah, the end of the opening credits.
Yeah, I agree. That should be the industry standard. Let's put it that way.
Yeah,
I agree. But the you can't. It's Hollywood people. They think along the lines. Well, Ma and Pa Johnson over on the farm in the middle of Iowa don't know these things, and everyone's a retard that doesn't live in Hollywood. So we really got to aim down with our material. I mean, that's honestly the way they think. And
absolutely.
If they don't actually think that way, you're making films that make it look like you think that way.
Yeah.
One thing I did want to do here, talked about it last time, but that was like 2 weeks ago. This is the link to Grisella's DeviantArt page for F13 game comic. This is his comic, and then as well just the general DeviantArt page. There's the link for it again, and I'm going to put those down in the link below. And Grisel's a friend of the show, and you see him over on Monkey, and he did one of my favorite pieces of art of me sitting in front of a fire with a little beagle asleep at the feet, which if you watch Noir Bar, it's one of the pieces of art that's hanging on the wall. I liked it so much. Grisel's a really great artist, and if you're interested, you should absolutely go check it out. Like I said, those are the links to both the comic and his DeviantArt page in general, and I will put those links in the description after the show. So definitely worth checking out. I went and checked it out, and I was happy. And if I didn't think it was great, I wouldn't promote it. And I do think it's great, so I'm happy to put the word out there a little bit.
Oh hell yeah! Yeah, no, the art is actually really good. I'm
damn
really,
right.
I'm really impressed with it. It's
absolutely.
The so we were Jesus Christ.
What?
I just noticed Sinatra changed it. His icon, the little comic animated Sinatra face, like Frank Sinatra face.
Yeah.
It's all like Joker clown makeup now.
Well, I've been noticing there's a lot of that. Well, you should check Twitter too, because Jordan Ajax or Axjax did your otter as the Joker.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I saw that. Yeah, I'll go look. Jordan 250. I'll go check that out. Sure.
Well, it is Clown World. So.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I like it not so much for the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, but like, God, it's definitely 2019 Clown World, man. There's no question about that shit. Fuck. I agree with Randy Monkey. I don't want to accept the Clown World meme, but come on. At a certain time, you just have to relent and go, yep, we're here. It's true. So
Yeah.
the thing I wanted to mention before we got into pitches is one last thing. So I kind of referenced this to Jack a little bit last night, but Quiz, you didn't hear about this. So I went over to, excuse me, Comic Tropes, which is another comic book channel here on YouTube. I'm a fan of it. I think some people who enjoy this kind of content might find it a little bit light over there. Like I would call it light comedy, what goes on over there. Chris from Comic Tropes. I'd like to do a show with Chris. I'd like to hook up and do some kind of collab. But I don't think he'd want to touch us with a 10-foot pole, guys.
Why? We're awesome.
We are awesome. But
do we say fuck too much?
Yeah.
Fuck!
Why does the description say episode 6? Well, that's incompetence at work, Meta.
Polly barely knowing where he was when he started the stream.
Not only does the description say episode 63, there's no title either if you haven't noticed. So yeah, that's hackery at work. The Chris runs a straight show is what it comes down to, and I dig it for that. You know, and I don't want every comic content on YouTube or on the internet to be like ours. I don't want everyone to be like your boy Zach or Ethan Van Sciver or Comic Storian. I don't want anyone to be like Comic Storian, actually. Even him.
You know, see that's the thing is like the comics are so wide and varied, and everyone has their own opinion. I'm in 100% agreement there. Everyone has their own voice, and everyone should, speak it.
Yeah.
And it's his. Like I'm not trying to do a plug for his channel. I'm just saying I was over there watching. He's doing this thing that he's calling Inktober, where he doesn't do a lot of live streams. Right? He does edited videos, which are all really good, I think. And it every day for the month of October, he's an artist himself, an amateur artist, and I think he's pretty good. He's a hell of a lot better than I am. And he's just going to draw while he does like an hour and a half live stream, kind of answering questions. And in chat, while I was watching this yesterday, Comicsgate comes up as a subject, right? And where is Comicsgate not going to come up as a subject on YouTube? Nowhere. It's the thing, right?
It is a thing, yeah.
You know, of course they're going to ask this guy, Chris, what he thinks about it, because he's such an even-tempered, nice, straightforward kind of guy. They're going to say, well, where do you come out on this? His actual answer when someone asked was this. You're going to get a number of different answers depending on who you ask to that. And to be honest, it's kind of a rabbit hole. So I think that... James Smith 231 asks if I've ever read Silver Age Spider-Man. Well, yes, I did. Like he just moved right the fuck on.
Such
man.
a dodge.
Like
hey,
he just
good though because he doesn't need to weigh in.
Yeah, he just moved right the hell on, man. And he's expressed his opinion on Comicsgate before, and it took all of 30 seconds to do it. And I remember what he did at the beginning of a video, and he actually made what I thought was a pretty funny joke out of it. He said, a lot of people have asked this on Twitter and in the comments what I think about a movement, a thing going on called Comicsgate. And basically, and this was his description, I thought it was really fair. It's not the description I would use, but I think it was fair. That Comicsgate is basically, there's a lot of people out there, or there's some people out there that think that politics have gotten too involved in comics, and the replacement of a lot of long-standing characters with female characters and different ethnicity characters, and it's changing things around, it's messing with lore, and it's really all based in the promotion of politics. And he said, I've looked into this, and I've thought about it, and I've read comics for years, which he absolutely has because he's really knowledgeable. And he goes, to be honest, I just really don't see it. And then he reaches off screen and grabs a bulletproof vest and puts it on and then slaps it and goes, okay, I think I'm ready now for the backlash. And then he moved right the hell on with the rest of the show. And that was it, 30 seconds. And I'm like, hey, you don't agree? That's fine. I disagree with you. That, you don't see it happening. I think I could convince you otherwise I think I can make some pretty sound arguments that, come on, Chris, I think it is going on. But I'm not going to fuck with him, and I'm not going to say fuck that guy because his description of it was reasonable.
I'll say it. Fuck that guy and his reasonableness.
It was fair.
Yeah,
and see, that's the thing, is that's what a lot of the people that would say that they are Comicsgate, or adhere to the principles of Comicsgate, that's what they want. They want to be to be heard fair, right? Because the major problem is that these people do it the same way every single time. If you don't agree with them, you're a racist, Nazi, homophobe, bigot.
Right. He didn't use the word bigot. He didn't use the word he goes, there's a number of racists out there who tend to think that blah, blah, blah. He didn't do nothing like that. He said, look, here's what they think. I've looked into it. I don't see it. Cracks a joke, moves the hell on. And I don't really want to keep talking about this. I'm interested in comics, not this thing. I don't think that's the path to pursue, but this guy doesn't want to choose a side, and he's not fucking with anyone. So do you, man, is my call. And what I thought was interesting is what was the sort of the background of what's going on. What was happening in chat? People kept bringing it up from both sides. And then one person said this, I love this channel because it's a rest spot from the drama coming from both sides of Comicsgate. And I'm like, yeah, this channel is that. I agree. That's why I think there should be lots of different types of material related to comics. I don't want everyone having I don't want everyone agreeing with me on Comicsgate. I just don't want people calling me a fucking Nazi because I think there's too much politics in comics.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't agree with you.
I 100% agree.
So what you're saying is that he's the mundane Matt of Comicsgate.
Low blow, man. Low blow.
Yeah. Uncalled for, unnecessary.
I don't even know who this guy is, so pretty cheap shot.
That's even worse.
Oh, man, that guy's got literally what? I think it's 40 or 60,000 subs, so he's 40 or 60,000 or 40 or 60 times as large as this channel is. I mean, damn. He reaches an audience, man, and he does it by being a really chill guy. So there's you can only knock on his hustle so much. He's doing it fine. What I found interesting about it is the amount of people that were just straight ignorant. That's the main point that I want to bring up here. Like, and I mean ignorant, not in a bad way, just simply, what are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
They're tuning into a comic book channel. They don't, what is this Comicsgate you speak of? That was the majority of the comments in chat. And I'm like, well, they really don't know. And one person said, it's a movement of hate and bigotry. Was one and I was like, oh, fuck this guy, man. Like, what?
The modern iteration is a movement of dicks on pictures of people that don't like memes. That's the current version if you look up #Comicsgate.
Well, and it.
As I say, I was wondering if we were going to start talking about the CG drama.
Well, see, now here's the thing. When I mentioned this to Jack yesterday, he said. He brings up War Campaign. It's hard not to, right? Yeah. It's like the worst parts of it. And it's like, okay, do I need to bring up, oh, Jesus Christ. Chris did a test stream for Inktober just to make sure his system was up and running. Like I've done that with streams and shit, right? The day before the official first day. And he was talking about Bill Sienkiewicz and Sienkiewicz. I'm never quite sure how to say it.
I think it's Sienkiewicz.
Sienkiewicz?
I don't know.
Okay. Brilliant artist. Kind of a denouncing asshole, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Everybody out there who blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'd love to go talk to Sienkiewicz for a minute and say, who are you specifically referring to? And I don't even need you to be that specific. Just in general, don't say those assholes who did what in particular. I would be willing to bet he's talking about the most hateful parts of it. That, I remember this one guy who sent out this one death threat. And I'm like, okay, and here's somebody who agrees with you, send out a death threat. Oh, well, this other guy, this other time said that, called this trans woman a man in a wig. Oh yeah, well, here's a guy who got swatted for not even agreeing, just saying that he didn't hate these people. And a bunch of cops showed up, his life was put in danger. Like, how long do you want to do this, Bill?
Until he yells out that you're doing whataboutisms.
But it's like, if you're so bad, well, the people that agree with you are just as bad, if not worse, than the examples that you're citing. That's not whataboutism. That's, you're a fucking hypocrite if you think the people that are committing these, like, there's assholes on both sides. Yes, there are. But if we eliminate, these pricks on Twitter said these things. If we eliminate all that material from everybody, what's left? Is there more politics in comics? And eventually we're going to get through to the discussion that I think is the key core of what's going on with Comicsgate. And I said this to you last night, Jack. The three things. Don't call us Nazis on Twitter. Be a fucking professional. Ignore the assholes on Twitter because they're always going to be there. Don't let them get your goat. And why are you broadcasting your political opinions? Stop being a prick on Twitter. Try and get some kind of fucking professionalism and social media in general. Some kind of professionalism going on. Number 2, write good stories. And number 3, stop inserting your politics into comics. When you make, and I don't care that Captain America punched fucking Hitler in issue number 1. Because I can give you 7,000 examples from the past 2 years of where politics have been inserted in a crazy way. Because Captain America punching Hitler was deliberately, intentionally propaganda and was described as such. Is that what you're saying you're doing? Propaganda? You want to admit to that?
Yeah,
I don't think they do.
It's a good point. It's a really good point. The fact that, yeah, it was absolutely fucking propaganda.
Intentionally so. They're not even shy about it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was during the war. That's what people did back then was...
And yeah, I was gonna say, I would ask them, do you think we are currently at a war or currently in a war?
War against fascists.
Then that would be even more telling if they were to say something like that, Jack.
So it comes down to those main 3 things for me, and I think that anyone, Sienkiewicz, whoever, Jeff Lemire, I think Jeff Lemire is a great artist. I also think he's a pretty big prick online. Who has done this to you? Who pissed you off, Lemire?
Who hurt you?
Yeah, and it's like, well, these 3 guys called me all these names, and they called me a leftard and all these other things, and I'm like, yeah, and these. Look at what Chuck Dixon put up with.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, do you think you're the only one? Everyone gets pricks online saying shitty things to them. The key is to be a professional and move on to the best of your ability. But you, Lemire, don't even look like you're fucking trying.
No, because they're a bunch of hypersensitive pussies now.
I mean, why do you think Mags Visaggio gets focused on? It's not because she's trans. It's not.
Yeah. It's not. It's because of the things she says.
Oh, you don't want gay characters. Jack, I was mentioning this to you. I was reading fucking Moon Knight, right? They rewrite Duchamp, Frenchie, Moon Knight, Mark Spector's longtime partner. He writes him as gay. Charlie Houston writes him as gay. You didn't know the whole time I was gay? It worked inside the story quiz. It was interesting. It wasn't a problem. It wasn't a virtue signal. It was a moment, and Mark Spector was pissed. You know why? He lied to him for years. How could you not tell me? We almost died together. You saved my life and you keep this from me? The fuck's wrong with you, man? I know. And he starts listing off all these other things that he knows about him. We were in war together and you didn't, you couldn't trust me? I love that that's his reaction, is betrayal of secrecy. I thought, I've told you everything and you keep this from me. And it was part of the story. It's almost like Charlie Houston knows how to write a good story or something, as opposed to Frenchie's gay. And that's the whole story. And my point to Jack was it's never about, I want everyone to be a straight cis white male, because that's always the criticism, right? You want nothing but straight cis white males in your comics. Bullshit. That's fucking garbage. Because I love that story where Frenchie, they never wrote him as gay. They wrote him as a womanizer. But Charlie Houston did a great job making that twist. That's a retcon in a very real way. But he made it work the way he told it. I'm not against it. I just want a good story. And I don't want your fucking virtue signaling. And at the end of it, Duchamp, Frenchie goes, oh, and by the way, fuck Trump, am I right? Who wants... Anyway, that's these were my thoughts that I was having watching Inktober last night. So
I got a couple things I'd like to bring up if we got time.
Yeah, we do. We're going to go into pitches after this. So you get the final word, Jack. Shoot.
All right. Tom Lyle, who was an artist on Spider-Man and Robin years ago, he's in a coma after a brain aneurysm.
Oh, God.
Wow.
So it sounds like it was a medically induced coma, but there's a strong likelihood his family will probably have to do a GoFundMe. And just be aware of that if you see it on Twitter or whatever, consider donating, because he's a good dude.
Yeah, make sure if you do spot it, Jack,
Oh, I'll
Like,
retweet it.
Yeah, hit me up on Twitter, and then I'll be able to retweet it. Not that I've got a billion followers, but you know, get the word out.
Yeah, well, you got more subscribers than I do anyway. Ruby Rose was also injured and had to face emergency surgery and possible paralysis after an injury on the set of Batwoman.
Yep.
Really? I did not hear this.
Well,
Yeah,
you would have if you check our Twitter.
It was a stunt gone wrong. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, seriously.
Yeah, so a couple bad things. But John Carpenter is writing a Joker one-shot that's part of the Year of the Villain tie-in, like the movie director, John Carpenter.
Is he going to write it like The Thing, or is he going to write it like John Carpenter's Vampires?
I don't even care. There's a possibility that if this goes well, he could be doing other comic book work because he's expressed interest in doing a series. So if you want to see somebody with actual talent writing a comic book, check it out. It comes out real soon in the next month or so.
Cool. That's debatable.
Hey, I'll take his work over Tom King any day.
I was going to say Tom King.
Yeah. I will take his work over most of modern comic writers for that matter.
I was going to say, did you want to bring up the reason why you used a Warhammer...
Oh, fuck, yes, of course I do. Yes.
It's gonna be one of those.
I was contented to let you breeze right on past it, but
no, because it's going to be in the title that I subsequently apply to this video, and it's in the tags. And for God's sake, I've even got an article on it. Most professional otter on. I would call myself if I. And I don't, so I won't. So there. There it is. Marvel to produce new Warhammer 40k comics, and I deliberately picked this article to piss you off, Quiz, because that Space Marine looks so stupid, and it's from CBR. Twisting the knife.
It's gotta wait for it to catch up here.
Yeah. That Space Marine looks so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a very short story. It's more like, it's CBR, guys. This is Access Media promoting something, pretending this isn't a commercial. So I'll just rattle it off, and I'm sure Quiz has an opinion or two. Marvel Comics has partnered with Games Workshop, the hobby pimps, as I like to call them, to produce new comic books based on Warhammer 40,000, Games Workshop's popular miniature war game. News of this collaboration was broken by Games Workshop on the official Warhammer community website. Past the initial announcement, however, it appears the game manufacturing company is currently not at liberty to reveal any details. That being said, it was able to reveal that Marvel's Warhammer 40k comics are expected to arrive next fall. For the uninitiated, Warhammer 40k is a tabletop game introduced by Games Workshop in 1987. In it, players simulate battle using an incredibly depressing array of lore. Warhammer is set in the distant future where terrible, horrible things happen and no one is ever happy, with its story revolving around a stagnant human society being antagonized by aliens and supernatural creatures in a never-ending depressing storyline. Warhammer 40k is considered to be the world's most popular miniature war game. Yeah, that's doubtlessly true. Yeah. I mean, what do they got? Like a 70% market share at least?
Oh, compared to everyone else. There was one that was on the rise, but they've been kind of shooting their fans in the dick lately with War Machine. But yeah.
Okay, so the last little bit of it is, though it has the most dedicated player base in Great Britain, its place of origin, it has spawned numerous spin-offs and tie-ins, including other tabletop games, video games, music, novels, and even an animated film. A live-action television series is also currently in the works. Furthermore, this new collaboration with Marvel certainly isn't Warhammer's first foray into the comics world, though they're all confused why they went with woke Marvel to make a bunch of gay space marines promoting wokeness in the future. With previous comics and graphic novels set in the game's universe previously being released by the likes of Titans Comics. Marvel's Warhammer 40k comics are expected to launch in the fall of 2020, no doubtlessly going after a strange orange villain in the future, because it's 2020 and all. There is currently no information regarding the stories and creative teams. That's not true. Quiz will fill us in. Games Workshop has also promised to deliver new details as soon as they become available. There we go. What do you think, Quiz?
Well, there hasn't been any releases about who's actually going to be on staff for these.
Oh, I thought there was leaks about the possible writers that they had really pared it down. Am I off on that?
No, it's the fact that Games Workshop has a whole stable of writers that have experience with comics already. So it would be dumb to say like hire a Heather Ontos to write for a Warhammer comic when Dan Abnett has already written comics and can easily write Warhammer infinitely better than someone else.
Right.
So, yeah, there's this when this came out on Twitter, it kind of blew up on Warhammer Twitter, and not everyone was pleased. I was one of them. A lot of them were passing it off as jokes, considering that who owns Marvel?
Disney,
yeah.
Disney. So does that technically then mean that Reboot Gilliman, the return to Primarch, is now a Disney princess?
Yes. Yes, and she will act accordingly. They're going to get some marginalized women of color to write this so we can elevate their voices.
What I kept on saying, though, is that, of course, everyone knows that Fulgrim is the actual Disney princess. Fulgrim being the Primarch that fell to Slaanesh. Either way, here's my whole thoughts on it. No.
His thoughts are no.
That's very concise of you.
Yes.
The reason why is because I'm concerned that Games Workshop are not as litigious as they can and should be. They've stolen intellectual property from Games Workshop before. There was a little series published back in 2019. Do you want me to screen share these, Polly?
Talking about Venom Space Knight.
Can't really do that because it'll grind my computer. I'd like to, but like as soon as it's animated, everything's no, we can. Hold on.
All right.
It's not a video image, still image, right?
No, yeah,
it won't be. It won't be a
Ramen. Shut your asshole. He said Warhammer 40k by Tom King.
Yeah. Well, if there's anyone that could write a depressing story set in Warhammer.
Yeah, no shit.
There you go.
Okay, so let's see here.
Oh, we gotta focus on you.
Frosted said any redheads in 40k will now be played by women of color.
Let me think.
Redhead extinction continues.
Were there any? I'm trying to think if there were.
Your
any...
screen is live right now, so don't be bringing up that weirdo hentai.
I'm not.
I saw my avatar.
Okay, so here, let's let me screen share this real quick. Boom, screen share right over here. There's this little comic right here. This is no.
Oh, it's flashing. Oh my god.
Oh god. There we go. There we go. Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. So this is Venom Space Knight. This was a comic that was published back in 2016. So we've got a little bit of things here, right? I'm gonna advance a couple of pages here. This one right here. I want everyone to really take into consideration this panel right here. Just look at these. Okay. You see these?
The spaceships he's talking about. He hasn't centered.
Yeah,
yet.
you can see you can see my mouse. There. Just circling around here. See these? All right. Hang on one second. Let me pull it up. Where?
Really quick, Ryan Walter says, "Why doesn't Disney make a live action Gargoyles film?" Good call. Good call.
Yeah. Does this look familiar? That is a Sky Ray gunship from the Tau Empire.
So what you're saying is Marvel Comics has a history of ripping off intellectual property and designs from the 40k universe.
Yes, and it is egregious. This is actionable. I'm just saying, man. If you take a look at the take a look at them, I'm just gonna do that again. This little panel right here, and this one right here.
They're after your precious Tau.
This right here, and then right there. And what's worse about it, right, Okay. Here, let me just pull this up real quick. Let me just go like this. Tau.
Not my precious Tau, Geode says.
I don't care about. I don't care about the Tau. I'm talking about just on the principle, right?
Right.
So this. Come on, fucking.
An evolved potato. That's Tau shit. It's.
It's Tau shit. Some Tau shit.
Thank you very much for posting everyone's links over and over again of all potato. And I appreciate that.
Yeah, we all do.
This is the symbol for the Tau Empire.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's advance a page or two. They couldn't even be bothered to change it.
Where is it?
From the model they ripped off.
Oh, yeah, there it is, right there.
Right fucking there.
It's off center of the screen, but yeah, you're right. Like, the chat can't see it because it's off too far to the left.
Let me see if I can zoom in.
Well, you know what they did
There
was
it is,
they took they needed spaceships for background, and they said, hey, I'll just look up some pictures and trace them. And that's what they did.
Well, there's more than that. There are several like very obvious traces.
Yeah, I saw the one with the Falcon grab tank, and
the Falcon grab tank. There's plenty of other GW intellectual property that was stolen for this comic book. Yet Games Workshop now says, "Oh yeah, no, we're gonna partner with Marvel." I think it's because Games Workshop sees exactly how much movie money Marvel made.
Yeah.
And they're saying, "Oh, well, we're gonna get in on that." No, Games Workshop, Marvel will not, especially the comic side of Marvel, will not give you movie money. Don't fall for this, Games Workshop. All right?
check stream.
Really quick over on Streamlabs. Ebony Williams, thank you very much, Ebony. She says, "Death to the accursed potato."
This is egregious. All right, this is egregious. So
what you're saying is they bought the model as a model, as a reference model, and just literally traced off of it, copied it direct.
Yeah, they absolutely did. Okay. They absolutely did. And see, here's the thing, right? Now you can say what you want about here. Who's the artist on this piece of shit? Ariel Olivetti, whatever. You're a hack. You're a terrible artist. All you did was trace shit. Fuck you. All right.
Jeez.
But yeah, no, fuck that person. I don't care who or what they, what they are, what they did. That's egregious and that's terrible. Okay?
Well, I'm curious if you're that much against copying somebody else's material egregiously. What are your thoughts on them taking 50% of their lore from the Catholic Church?
Well, that's public domain policy.
They're not exactly on the moral high ground in being 100% original, are they?
That's perfectly fine. They're not venerating Jesus Christ. They're venerating the immortal God Emperor of mankind.
And everything else from that is Carmen. This is just an ongoing joke between Quiz and I. I actually think it's pretty clever to use real world religion in that way. I mean, it's not that bad of an idea, and they tend to do it to interesting effect, in my opinion.
Yeah, mine too. I personally really like it. But if you want to know my deepest thoughts about this, right? All jokes aside, all head scratching, armchair lawyerness aside, there could be potential here.
In terms of the comic being reasonably good, you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it were literally anyone other than Marvel.
My only thought on it is one of hope and pride, a little bit, actually. That all I hear when I'm watching channels is like, "Can you believe Marvel is getting it?" And I'm like, why do you guys think that's a bad thing? It's fucking Marvel. Everything they do is woke as fuck. And I'm like, oh, we move.
Yes.
It's like they have that reputation out there amongst people who don't read comics that Marvel is the last place you would want something cool to end up because they're gonna make it bullshit woke. And I'm like, yes.
and that's a deserved reputation that Marvel have been cultivating for the past 30 fucking years.
Yeah, and I'm happy that it's that reputation, at least in some circles, is out there amongst people who don't even read comics. Marvel is just kind of getting known for it. Good. You wanted that lifestyle brand reputation, Santa Amanat? Well, you got it. And it hasn't resulted in the phantom audience you wanted materializing, just a highly tarnished, patinaed reputation. Well done.
Yeah, right. And and that was one thing I was thinking about too. Sana Amina asking about Marvel being a lifestyle brand like Goop. Yes, Gwyneth Paltrow, how good that is.
Right.
Well, remember, Goop's still back for his pook. But I think this actually might be a good sign, because Games Workshop has historically done pretty good about oversight on their licensed products.
Yeah, that's one thing that you brought up when this first kicked off. That and I had another buddy of mine too that when I showed him that and I voiced my concerns, he goes, "Do you really think that Games Workshop is going to let them run roughshod over their IP? They're one of the most litigious people about who says or does whatever they want with G-Dub's IP." So yeah, no, I'm not sure if the Warhammer end of the comics is going to be what I should be really concerned about. And truth be told, I'm not. Dan Abnett has been writing tons of Black Library books for Games Workshop over so many years. One of the very first books he ever published was in 1988 for Marvel Comics, doing the Doctor Who comic book. All right. So if he can get into Marvel and say, "Hey, I'm going to write the book," I think there could be potential. The problem is who Marvel is asking to collaborate with the writers, because we all know how bad Marvel's artists are. Need I bring back Venom Space Knight?
No.
I think we need to find out a little bit more about the details of the contract, because they might specify like a lot of licensors, that they have final approval on what's being put out.
Yeah.
And if they say this art is shit, you are not publishing this, they can't publish it.
Well, that's good.
Because like you have to do that with even $6 Million Man, which is being licensed by Dynamite, a 1970s property. They still have final approval on that. So with Games Workshop having such good oversight on their licensed product, I would think that, because most of the 40k stuff I've seen from Titan and Boom was not bad.
Yeah, the art was actually fairly good.
Yeah, so maybe they've got a little higher expectation from Marvel being one of the big two, that a lot of the garbage we've been seeing out of X-Men pre-House of 10 will actually get kind of like vetoed right out of the gate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'll say this, man. I've said it in is it not allegorical in hyperbolic statements before to both these guys and on Twitter. Dan Abnett wrote the best X-Men story in the past like 20 years, and it's called the Ravener trilogy. It's essentially all about an Inquisitor who is wheelchair bound, but is this amazing telepath. It's remind you of someone. I'm just saying, it's there's a lot of potential there, and I know Dan Abnett has never written for the X-Men, so I think I keep on thinking back to that. I'm like, was this the reason? Was that his impetus for making Ravener the way that he was? Is that he wanted to write X-Men? And just kind of said, fuck you, Marvel, I'm gonna write X-Men anyway.
So, I mean, a few people in chat have been mentioned different characters, like Deadpool and Cosmic Ghost Rider. They're not woke, and I guess the idea being that Marvel can't produce good comics. Yeah, of course they can. Not everything that they do is woke virtue signaling. Just the stuff that they throw the majority of their weight behind, Miss Marvel Kamala Khan, Captain Marvel Carol Danvers, comes to mind. It's clearly a direction they're going in Sana Amanat, has a remarkable, and in my opinion, undeserved and unwarranted level of power, considering what she's done with it during her time there. The concern is justified when people hear their beloved 40k is going to be done by Marvel. There's an anxiety that jumps up because of a reputation that I think overall is deserved. Maybe not across the board deserved, but enough, so much so that the concern is warranted. That's all I'm saying with it.
Well, with what they've been doing with the X-Men for the past, 20 years.
Well, up until House of X and Powers of X.
I reserve judgment until it's concluded.
It's
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of supervillain books.
Well, like I said to Jack the other day, and Jack ended up agreeing with me. You might not like the storyline, but I'll tell you this, Quiz, it's not a quality problem.
Yeah, it's well written.
Yeah,
it's just not my.
And the art is very well done. So it might not be your cup of tea, but I have no issues with the quality level. Where it's like when we did, America Chavez, it was absolutely 100% of the way a quality issue. Like, Jesus Christ.
That was just a terrible book.
Yeah, the art sucked. The story sucked. That it was a display of incompetence across the board. That's not what you see going on in House of Pox. You might not like where they take it, but it's not because they suck.
Well, the worst thing, and I've remained really consistent about this, for a very long time. The worst thing that you can do, especially to a someone that a series that you don't own, right? That you're just making content for, is to have those characters act out of character.
Yeah.
And to me, having the X-Men be isolationist and act like that's something that the Brotherhood should be doing, not the X-Men.
Oh no, they're making them into straight up villains.
Well, actually, it's interesting that you say that. You talk about characters shouldn't be acting out of character, which is a great segue over to the comic that I want to pitch today. So let's go right over to pitches.
Hell yeah.
And hopefully our chat, I think, has been sitting here for a long time, being very patient with our overlength show, because we said we were going to end it a while ago, but I forgot about but I forgot about a crucial story, and Quiz is right to bring it up. So hopefully this will be a indication to my fellow hosts about how quick to do a pitch. And I know I'm not famous for doing fast pitches, so
even though you even have an intro made for fast pitches.
Right. My pitch today is Spider-Man Back in Black, the Back in Black story arc. I reread this recently. This is J. Michael Straczynski writing. Straczynski is in my opinion, sadly maligned guy. He is the fantastic talent behind Babylon 5, as well as a bunch of other things, and he had a great run on Spider-Man. Don't you worry about One More Day. It wasn't his fault.
The Spider God thing was kind of dumb.
So the what happens in Back in Black is here's Spider-Man's black suit, the not the alien costume, not the symbiote. This is just his cloth suit. What happens tragically at the beginning is Aunt May catches a bullet from a sniper across the way. Spider-Man
catches it like ninja style, or she gets shot?
She gets shot.
Do you mean to tell me that this is One More Day yet again?
This is what leads into One More Day.
Oh, okay.
She's dying, right? That what happened here is that Peter Parker is talking with Mary Jane and Aunt May in an apartment, and his spider sense does go off, and he pushes himself and Mary Jane out of the way, but he's not fast enough, and the bullet travels right through where he and Mary Jane would have been standing and hits Aunt May. And this is the aftermath that you see here, the first page of, oh my God, she just caught a rifle bullet. This is, I love this shot of Spider-Man here where he's like, oh, okay.
Aunt May,
there it is. He's like, no more. And he runs down outside the building, and it's so fucking epic. All you see from the sniper's point of view is Spider-Man picking up a fucking Jeep and throwing it up in the air where he knows the shot came from. He throws a fucking Jeep at him. And this is the tenor of the story, where it's Spider-Man no longer fucking around. I have had it. I always play the nice guy, and look what it's gotten me. The out of character thing. Straczynski does, in my opinion, a great job of playing this. What happens when Spider-Man is driven to act out of character, to do that which he normally wouldn't do?
You know the neighbor guy that hates him, that he's always like, Parker's TV's on loud all the time. That dude just shut his fucking mouth for the rest of his life. Oh, I love that guy now.
Yeah, was that Parker who just threw a Jeep through the building?
I'm not fucking with that dude.
At least until their entire universe gets reset after one more day.
Yeah.
What?
It's a bad comic, Polly.
What ends up happening, if you don't know, is that what has led up to this is the Civil War storyline, where I'm not going to tell the background of Civil War. It'll take too long, and this is a short-term pitch. A number of the heroes reveal their secret identities. Among them, Peter Parker. He reveals to the world, I have been Spider-Man for the past 15 years. Well, since I was 15 years old. Everybody knows who he is now. The Kingpin now knows who his greatest enemy is. So Kingpin, who's in jail, sends a sniper to, that's it, I'm going to take you and your family out. The contract wasn't to kill Peter Parker. It was to kill all three of them. Except the sniper only managed to get one of them. This is Peter driven to the edge. Like, I reveal my identity because I want to go along with Tony Stark's idea, and look what it got me. I am always playing the nice guy. I am always letting people convince me of things. Here's Wilson Fisk, very proud of having, he's told, well, only the aunt got shot. And he's like, oh, well. And he quotes Euripides that, that thou who the gods can't destroy will first drive mad, because it increases the pleasure. And it's good. It works out that way because I get to drive him slowly crazy before I kill him. Peter's reaction to this is, I'm going to go get my black suit. This isn't red and blue Spider-Man time. This is vicious Spider-Man time. This scene kind of sums up a lot of it too. The cop is guarding the building where Peter threw the Jeep through, and he's like, hey pal, you can't come in here. I said. Peter just webs him to the wall. I'm not even going to have a fucking conversation with you, man. I know you're law enforcement, but fuck off. I'm on a mission here. I don't want to tell you any more than that. What does Spider-Man do? What does he have to do in this 6-part story arc to find out who did it? What happens when Peter Parker really breaks loose and out of character, and now he has the power to pick up a Jeep and throw it. Imagine if he punches somebody in the face full strength. What happens to them?
Oh, I know what happens to him because I read Spider-Man and Wolverine, and Charlie catches one right in the face.
Oh, yeah, that's good point. Yeah, he busts Charlie's face in on herself, doesn't he? Yeah. Yeah. Jesus Christ. And that was accidental when he punches full strength.
No, Charlie set that up because she's trying to buy a plot of land.
That's what it was. A 6 feet deep plot of land.
Yeah.
I highly recommend the storyline. It's been republished twice. I looked into a collected editions, Back in Black. It's J. Michael Straczynski telling a great storyline. It's the near end of his run writing Amazing Spider-Man. It happens over 3 series, actually. Amazing Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, which is now canceled, and I forget the third one that it goes over. But in the collected edition, like the one I was showing for you, get all the comics that are the complete Spider-Man Back in Black storyline. It's Peter Parker driven to the edge of, I'm not going to be restrained anymore because fuck it, what has it gotten me up to this point? Where does that go? What does it lead? What consequences come out of that for him personally? I highly recommend it. It's definitely worth checking out as a grittier Spider-Man.
Yeah,
so
I'm
there
with
it is.
Ryan on this. This is a little racist because Black Spider-Man's the violent one.
Whom gods can't destroy, Prospero said. Yes, for whom the gods can't destroy, they instead. Which was also the title of a awesome original series Star Trek episode for this great hero who went mad because he was... Anyway, we're moving along. So, who would like to go next?
I'll go next if Quiz doesn't mind.
Sure.
Yeah, Chaos Eve says, holy shit, you guys are on. Yeah, we've run long. That's why I'm trying to... I try to do my pitch as fast as possible. Hopefully these guys will do likewise. Let me post Quiz here. Quiz, is this you?
No.
That's Jack?
If Quiz doesn't mind.
No, I'm sorry. I was just talking and trying to move things around here. And display. There you are, Jack.
Oops. I am pitching Batman versus Ra's al Ghul. Issue 1. This is a 6-part miniseries. Issue 2, I think, just came out or is coming out next week. I'm not sure. Done almost entirely by Neil Adams. He wrote it. He drew it. There you go. Now, I know you're wondering this. Why would you recommend a new comic book, Jack? Because it's Neil Adams. What's wrong with you? It's awesome. This book does not stop. It starts in a crazy situation and it just gets crazier from there. Batman is in Gotham, and this seems to take place shortly after Cataclysm, maybe. It's a little vague, but they do reference Cataclysm. So Batman is fighting these like remote-controlled androids that are leading escaped inmates into causing chaos. And there's private security forces running around, and Batman's trying to figure out what's going on. Thankfully, he gets some assist. Notice these green lines around here. Can you guess who that is? It's our friend Boston Brand, also known as Deadman. So Deadman's trying to help him out, figure out what's going on, because Deadman saw the chaos and thought, well, I got to find Batman. But they quickly learn that these security forces are actually sent in by a Professor Al Ghul, who is working with the police.
Okay.
And it hits the ground running. It's a nonstop action book. It's crazy. It's weird. It's got kind of a 70s feel to it, but it's phenomenal. It was a blast. I honestly was just like, oh, this can't get any weirder or crazier. And it does. I had a great time reading this. I thought it was fun. The twists and turns were good. It's kind of an all ages book, really, in a lot of ways. I mean, there's a little bit of blood, but it's really not that bad. And Deadman is great. He's really funny. Like, Batman accidentally chokes a guy out too far, so Deadman can't possess him because the guy's unconscious. So it was a lot of fun. It was just a blast of a book. You can see the art style's a little different than what Adams used to do, but he's getting on and he's adapted his style quite a bit.
It is different, but I like it. I was about to say, I
like it too.
I dig the art style. This is like anti-digital art. Not that I have a problem with digital art, but you can really see the pencils and shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can see all the shading lines, the background. He clearly drew all the buildings. Yeah. It's artistic. And I liked Neil Adams in the old days, and I like this style now too.
Yeah, it looks very 70s.
Yeah. Batman looks awesome. He's wearing the old gray and blue instead of a black costume. I like that. I really like this book. I thought it was so much fun. I'm really looking forward to reading issue 2.
Ebony asks if that's Tim and Damien on the cover. Is it?
Yeah, it had the whole crew on there.
Dick, yeah. The only one it didn't have was Jason.
Yeah, well, nobody cares about Jason.
I like Red Hood. Fuck you.
No, he died from a crowbar. Yeah, so
he should have stayed there.
Being exploded, but that's okay.
Yeah, so yeah, good time. A great book. These guys don't even come in till over halfway into the book, so you get to see a lot. It's so much fun. I had a great time reading this, and it's probably the best Batman book that has come out recently that I've read in a long time. Like, where I was actually like enjoyed every aspect of the issue. The art was fantastic. The writing was good. It's just a nonstop story that it starts out crazy, ends crazy, and it had that 70s feel. There was no wasted space. Nobody's standing around looking at their belly button, talking about their feelings, or doing some weird woke crap. No, it was like, how can you work with him? He's evil. All right, I gotta go fight a monster. I'll be right back.
Bless you.
Sorry.
Everyone is missing the mute button tonight.
I tried.
I have not missed the mute button tonight.
I really did try.
All right, Quiz, you're up. Let's do it quick. These guys are looking to get over to monkeys and go to bed and etc.
All right. My pitch is written by Paul Dini, drawn by Bruce Timm, inked by Shane Glennis. And my pitch is Harley and Ivy. This doesn't take you back. I don't know what does. So this is a story about how Harley and Ivy are trying to find this zombie plant that when the oils are distilled, it turns people into their willing slaves. Batman interrupts their plans and sends them back to Arkham. This is essentially like a animated series episode, but they don't pull punches in terms of the art and what they depict. You got Poison Ivy sitting here just brooding about how Harley fucked everything up and got them captured and brought back to Arkham. Thinking about her tied up and with a grenade in her mouth and pulling the pin.
This is like it. I don't know. Like, I see this Harley Quinn and I almost lament the Margot Robbie Quinn.
Yeah. I mean,
I love her in the shower, how depressed she looks. Just standing there like that. That's hilarious.
Oh, yeah. Gray skies are going to clear up. Put on a happy face. But yeah, this is actually a 3-issue series that was collected into a hardback. I think there's also a paperback edition of it. I know because I have the hardback edition. This is a really damn good story. It runs through a wide variety of settings and all sorts of stuff, and showcases the personality of both Poison Ivy and Harley. It definitely proves that the whole team up from the animated series was not only a good thing, but also enduring, and it lasted into an extremely well received and, in my opinion, one of my favorite comic books starring these two characters. So, yeah,
nice. And they're doing the animated series style, like a little bit exaggerated for a comic book, that they went with the full shower nudity and everything. But I mean, you don't see nothing, but it's I'm surprised at that. See that in there. I want to read that. It looked fun.
This is what would happen if Paul Dini and Bruce Timm didn't have to kowtow to censors.
There'd be naked lesbianic stuff all over the place. Got it. In any case, that brings us to the end of our show. Have we forgotten anything? Probably. If you haven't already, hit that like button. I don't know if I've said that. Yeah, definitely hit that like button. It absolutely helps. If you're listening in the future, please leave a not a message, a post below, comment below.
Comment. There you go.
Leave a comment below. We get a chance to read them all and respond to most. And if you are also so inclined, by all means, send us out on Twitter. We would greatly appreciate it. The audience is growing, and we're happy to see that. And yeah, thanks for watching. So everybody, have a good night, and we will see you next week. And for everybody who said, asked how I was doing after the fall, I'm doing better. My knee is still remarkably sore, and I still have some flashes, bright flashes and auras before my vision, but I was told to expect that from the doctor with the concussion and all. But definitely mending up, so I appreciate the well wishes and everything. And we will be back next week at this time, so we will see you then. Until then, read more comics.
Bye.
Bye.